Maybe white needs to rock. Okay, shalom everybody. We're live. Once again, hope everybody's having a great Monday. Hope everybody's weekend, everybody's Shabbat was positive and fruitful. Before we get into class, we want to just remind everybody in San Antonio that we are going to have the Feast of First Fruits this Saturday, Saturday night. We haven't given a time yet, but we'll just shoot it out in a group thread. And what else? Shout out to everybody in Houston, ISBHPK, Houston, ISBHPK, Virginia, ISBHPK, Rochester. Hope everybody's doing well today. The topic of the class today is dealing with embracing the Most High's husbandry, embracing the Most High's husbandry. And I think this topic is good or can be used for every, I guess, group of Israelite, male, female, brothers in Houston, brothers in Rochester, brothers in and sisters in Virginia, because even with Houston, I know they're embarking and expanding on their business element. We've been expanding in our business element and kind of talking about the tolls and the grind that comes from working long hours and kind of getting in the grinder with work. And I know sisters are well familiar with that as well. That daily routine, that damn 6 o'clock in the morning wake up call, rant, rant, rant. Nobody likes that sound. Nope. You can take all the herbs and vitamins in the world, and you got to spell it like herbs and vitamins, and you're gonna still feel like trash at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, or 6 in the morning. And I just want to kind of go into something about just to help fight that exhaustion and to fight that the mentality of having to get up every day and fight and grind and fight and grind. And I want to kind of go historically, kind of go present day, and just understand the nature of the Most High and how He looks at that grind that we all share on a daily basis. And I think everybody can take a little bit of from this class and help to get through their day. So the first verse I want to go to is Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. We can get started on the class. Yeshai, let's get rolling, bro. We got to be quick with these verses and loud and strong.
Romans chapter 15, verse 4.
Thank you, sir. Get that book up a little higher. Be perfect.
For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
Listen, everything that we've written or read about in the past, or that people lived in the past, were written for our learning. And the reason we always go back to the scriptures, the reason we always go back to the history books. Today we're going to need some Josephus books too, just so y'all know, because we're going to go into a little bit of Josephus work. I should have said it earlier. Yeah, should I give it to the sisters? At least 3. You might as well get all. We only got 4, so. I'm fine. Okay, Josephus Queen.
We had 5.
Okay.
Who's the other one?
Somebody snatched it. Stick your fingers, man. But once again, so read that again in Romans 15 and 4.
Romans chapter 15, verse 4. For whatsoever things are written aforetime were written for our learning.
So everything that was written in the past concerning our forefathers, concerning our people, they were written so we can learn from it, so we can get understanding from it, so we can start learning. I've talked about this and mentioned this numerous times, but it's so important that we take and learn the traits and the good habits of all of our forefathers who were successful in whatever endeavors they tapped into. It's so important that we tap into the good traits. The Most High tells us in Deuteronomy chapter 30 and 15 to choose thee this day life or death. So it's in our hands to take the information that's written, take the information or the examples that are talked about, so we can sit back here and choose to stand on the strong side or the righteous side. And the Most High gives us plenty of examples of how to do things right, so we can sustain that positive momentum. Because for all of us, the reason we have to read the scriptures so much and so frequent is in order to sustain positivity. to sustain good works, to sustain being the best or optimizing our daily life and our daily work.
It's really about keeping that spiritual momentum.
Yes, exactly.
Because when you're building momentum, you're trying to string pearls of days. You're trying to, every day, I'm trying to be my best self for Christ. I'm trying to be the best rib I can be, the best brother I can be, the best captain I can be, the best soldier I can be. For Christ, we have our bad days. We do have our days where we slip. And the goal is we keep studying to avoid long streaks.
Yes.
Because you have the streaks, what we call slumps. Those slumps create longer situations or consequences further down the line in our spiritual life. So we use the scriptures every single day to shorten our slumps, to to keep them reduced, and then also improve upon our positive elements. We can't stay static or stay in the middle. There's no such thing as being in the middle. All right.
Yep.
So that's the purpose of our style of teaching. It's not just to sit here to browbeat people, this and that. The goal is to keep everybody
inspired.
Our goal is to be inspired and create a positive culture around us where it's cool, it's okay, there's nothing wrong with being a
servant of righteousness,
a forward-thinking righteous Israelite. I'm not just gonna sit here and wear rags, and not saying nothing wrong with wearing rags, but I mean, it's supposed to be enjoying being Israelite. It's supposed to be a fun thing. I'm enjoying being Israelite. We're getting blessed. Things are working out right. We take L's.
Let's make sure. I don't want to go too deep into the explanation yet.
I'm not going to go deep. I'm not going to say that's my point. I know you got your class.
This guy's giving the answer to the test before we even start the class, man.
Well, no, I'm just saying. All I'm saying is
Junior, Nathaniel, come on in the front, bro.
You're like hiding over there.
You gotta be the high guy. Okay, I'm just making sure.
You're telling the truth, Look, we're just saying we want to create a positive culture for our people. That's it.
So
let's go.
Read Romans 15 and 4 from the top again.
Romans chapter 15, verse 4. But whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Read on.
We, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope.
Listen, the key to finding patience and comfort, another word for comfort is peace of mind. You get peace of mind and comfort from reading the scriptures. You get hope from reading the scriptures. And the hope comes from seeing righteous men and women that do the right thing. And you see that when they lived the right way and made the right decisions, there was a positive reaction. There was a positive outcome. That's everything. And this is why it's so important we stick to our history. We stick to the process and the lessons the Most High gives us so we can continue to find happiness and excel in doing things the right way. You might want to take that Josephus, sir, that's behind you. You better claim it now. Claim it before everybody else gets it. Hot off the presses. So we're going to let that verse go. We're going to go to Psalms chapter 119, verses 98 through 104.
119, 98 through
119, Psalms chapter 119.
Psalms chapter 119, verse 98.
Verses 98 through 104. And shalom, my daughter. How you doing, brother? Let me see. Shalom, everybody tuning in. We're going to get this thing right really soon. Okay, so read that if you can. Yeshai, then after this, I want my one to take some verses too. So we're at Psalms 119. You're doing well, though. Psalms 119, verse 98 through 104.
Psalms chapter 119, verse 98.
Yep.
Thou, through thy commandments, hast made me wiser than mine enemy.
So the Most High, David is saying, through learning the commandments of the Most High, he's become wiser than all his enemies. Read on.
For they are ever with me. I have more understanding than all my teachers.
So the wisdom is always with you. When you commit yourself to learn these laws, statutes, and commandments, the answers are always with you. The solutions are always there for you. Read on.
For my testimonies are my meditation.
He says, I have more understanding than all of my teachers. For thy testimonies are my meditation. Who were David's teachers?
Samuel.
Who else? And all the
Saul?
patriarchs,
Oh, Saul.
Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all of his predecessors, and the lessons that he learned from the predecessors were the ones he learned from because of the reading of the testimonies, the reading of the scriptures,
Noah's
the going back to the information, reading about Noah. The learning and the reading about the characteristics of the great men and women in his knowledge is why he has more understanding than his teachers. Because he learned the lessons that they have on top of the lessons that he's learned himself. That's where the advantages come. So it's not just about, even with these scriptures, reading Bible verses, studying, hanging out. This is not a boys' club or a girls' club. When you come to class, it is imperative that we get the lessons and the messages so you can take them and apply them. He has more understanding than his teachers because he applied the works. He applied not just the laws and commandments, but the precepts and the hidden messages that are right there in plain sight. David was able to sit back here and pick up on all the good habits, the positive virtues that were instilled in all of these leaders. Read on.
Verse 100. I understand more than the ancients because I keep thy precepts.
I understand more than the ancients because I keep thy precepts. The keeping of the scriptures, the keeping of the law, and the holding on to the same morals and principles that our forefathers held on to is what makes us a step above everyone else. Okay? Read on.
I have refrained my feet from every evil way.
Listen, David was completely prepared to not fall to the left or to the right because of how much he studied and invested and learned the characteristics of great people. Read on.
Verse 102. I have not departed from thy judgments, for thou hast taught me.
Mm-hmm.
How sweet are thy words! How sweet are thy words unto my taste.
It got to the point where everything, every precept, every scripture was sweet to his soul. And all that means is he began to crave it. It's no different than when you're learning how to eat healthy. You learn that when your body is saying it is hungry, it's because it's saying it needs what? Nutrition. Not fast food. Not garbage food. Whataburger does not solve all the world's problems, even though it feels like it does. The patty melt is not the solution, everyone. I promise you that.
Oh, got the bell?
Even though
Just
it
get your
turns
patty
up.
melt, jalapenos.
After counsel, everything's going to be okay. The point is this. Once you start to realize that your body is craving for nutrition, minerals, vitamins, you can start giving your body what it wants and it can operate at a higher level. It's the same thing spiritually. Once you realize that your spirit and your soul needs scriptures, it needs good examples, it needs a positive environment to keep feeding off of, and that's how you can sustain strength. That gets you to the point where you learn to love and embrace every aspect of what the scriptures bring to the table. Read on.
Verse 104.
I need you to give me some energy here.
Spirit, all of that.
Oh, verse 103.
No, give me verse 104.
Verse 104. Through thy precepts I get understanding. Therefore I hate every false way.
The more you give yourself to the precepts, the more you study the habits and the methods and the methodology of great people, great men, you learn to hate the negative way because it's that much more confirmation that living the right way works. The reason you study, the reason you read, we all need that confirmation to justify making the right decision, making the right judgment, making the right call.
The right adjustment too.
But learning how to be addicted to that, learning how to love making those adjustments is how you find your advantage in Christ. So we're going to let that go and jump to Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 8, verse 8 and 9.
God.
Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 8, verse 8 and 9.
Come. Ecclesiasticus chapter 8, verse 8 reads, despise not the discourse of the wise.
You're not supposed to sit back here and come in class, hear scriptures that can benefit you, strengthen you, make you more clear-minded, and get to the point where you despise it or despise counsel. Listen, the type of culture that we're trying to create amongst our people is for us to learn to love positive reinforcement, love advice, love scriptures that I could use that can give me that good cut. When you sit back and read in Psalms 141 and 5, the scripture says, let the righteous smite me, it should be a kindness. Getting to the point where you love correction, getting to the point where you love scriptures and examples that show you can do more, is the mindset that we have to embrace overall as a nation, as a camp, as a school. Okay, read on.
But acquaint thyself with the with their proverbs.
Read it from the top.
Come.
But acquaint.
Come. Despise not the discourse of the wise, but acquaint thyself with their proverbs.
Getting to the point where you can acquaint yourself. Acquaint means to be familiar. Get familiar with the counsels of the people that can sit back here and push you past your limitations. Embrace it. Love it. Own it. Read on.
For of them thou shalt learn instruction,
Mm-hmm.
and how to serve great men with ease.
It's easy to serve great men if you share the same value system that they serve.
True.
It's easy to serve your husband if your husband's trying to serve the Most High and so are you. You know when it becomes hard to serve your husband? When one person wants to serve the Most High and the other one doesn't. Then there's a problem. Eureka. But if both people or both parties are bought in to change, then all of a sudden it's not hard to serve a great person. And when I mean great, we're trying to be great. So if we're all here pursuing to be great in Christ, then it shouldn't be easy. It shouldn't be hard to work with one another. The reason it's hard to work with one another because there's always different agendas. Everybody wants to give what they want to give. Everybody wants to give less than what's needed. Okay, read on.
Miss not the discourse of the elders.
So he's trying to let you know when don't have any element or situation happen to where you lose an opportunity to learn. You lose an opportunity to get a valuable lesson.
Because you know the sad part is missing the discourse costs a lot of time.
That's the point.
Because what happens is rejecting a discourse because I don't agree, rejecting discourse because it's something I'm not familiar with,
I'm uncomfortable.
or rejecting discourse because I'll end up looking bad because I'm not skillful in that arena. It just costs me a long period of being ignorant, or not no longer ignorant, but to not know it, to not have that skill set in your tool belt will cost you down the line. Once again, we're still teaching to make sure people are present in their mind about how listening or not listening affects them down the line. You have to have that mindset of, am I looking forward?
And is there urgency when I have an opportunity to make a change? Am I taking every opportunity possible to improve myself? Am I intent on getting whatever type of leverage I can over my flaws and my issues?
Got me? Can I say this
Yes.
point? And it would improve your conversation amongst your peers and amongst your teachers also.
Mm-hmm.
Because the conversations also be positive and about building momentum and growth and development. That's the conversation you have when your mind starts to obsess and meditate about how can I be better for Christ.
Got it.
Then it morphs into how can I be better for the people around me. Then it elevates the environment of people around me.
Exactly. So continue. Ecclesiasticus chapter 8, verse 9.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 8, verse 9 reads, Miss not the discourse of the elders,
Mm-hmm.
for they also learn of their fathers,
Mm-hmm.
and of them thou shalt learn understanding, and to give answer as need requires.
So it says, for they also learned of their fathers, and of them that learn understanding, let's give me Ecclesiastes 44, verse 1 through 4. But it says, and of them thou shalt learn understanding, and to give answers as need required. He's just showing you the process of you learn, you share what you've learned to somebody else. They in this process of learning from the higher example is how everybody can be sustained. We're going to let that go and go to Ecclesiastes, the Apocrypha. This is where it is. Chapter 44, verse 1 through 4.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 44, verse 1 reads,
Yes.
Let us now praise famous men, and our fathers that begat us. The Lord hath wrought great glory by them through his great power from the beginning.
So what the Most High here in this chapter, Ecclesiastes 44 talks about and highlights all the great patriarchs of our time.
Yeah.
It talks about Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all the greats and all the talents and skills and abilities that these great men had that we were supposed to pattern our life after. And this is an example of us taking these precepts, taking these scriptures, taking these stories and making them ours, and trying to find out how we can take the virtues of these individuals and make them ours. Right? Let's keep going.
Such as did bear rule in their kingdoms, men renowned for their power, giving counsel by their understanding, and declaring prophecies.
So if these individuals were renowned for their power, the question would be, how can I get some of that power? How can I get some of that virtue? That's the question I'm asking. I'm not here to sit back here and just have that damn, what are those damn fans that they have in the church? Are they just fans? But they sit back with the fans.
The paper fan, white Jesus.
Well, not the white Jesus, just the fans. Because when I used to go to church, everybody had them fans and they moving like this. And everything's a yeah, that's right. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. When I come to class, when I used to come to class, and you know that's the truth. That's why he's laughing so much. But people are more focused on talking while the damn preacher's talking than getting the lessons. And a deeper point than getting the lessons, how can I sit back here and tap into the power of the people that did great things? This is why we read about the people aforetime.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
Come, verse 4. Leaders of the people by their counsels and by their knowledge of learning meet for the people. Wise and eloquent in their instruction.
That's what we should be striving for. How can I learn these lessons? How can I learn their counsels? How can I learn how they move so I can move like they move and get rewarded and be powerful like they were powerful? That's what this is supposed to be about. Even when you sit back here and go to 2 Timothy 2, I'm not going there because it's part of the class, but we're supposed to teach people who have the same desire to go teach what we learn to the next person. The idea is to take these strong methods, these strong approaches, and share them to other people to inspire them to be the best form of themselves also. Now, with all that being said, let's go back into the topic, and we're going to start off with Genesis chapter 31. Genesis 31. I need you to keep going.
Okay, you want me to keep going?
Yep.
Genesis 31.
Genesis 31,
Come.
verse 38 through 42. And once again, getting back to the topic of the class was about embracing the necessary work ethic that great men of Israel had back in the day. You know, a lot of times, a lot of us want great things. A lot of us want to attain to great things. But we need to sit back and go aforetime to figure out what was the standard, the gold standard of the work ethic that our forefathers had in order for them to attain great things. And if I could use their standard of work ethic, their standard of dedication, to pattern my standard of dedication, now I can start expecting results. Now, do we kind of see what we're kind of talking about? While we read these other verses, we have to start patterning ourselves after the prophets, patterning ourselves after great men. It's Genesis chapter 31, verse 38 through 42. 31, verse 38 through 42. And that's what this is going to go into. And this particular chapter deals with Jacob and Laban. Now, we've gone over this topic during Sabbath class. And this was kind of going at the point when Jacob and his two wives, no, his four wives, left Laban's home after working for Laban for a dub, 20 damn years of hard work as a shepherd. And it kind of explains the type of work ethic he had and how he was worked to the bone during this 20-year period of time. And it kind of gives you a glimpse into Jacob's work ethic. And I think it's important to understand how Jacob's work ethic is so that we're not shocked as to why our plight is no different than Jacob. Because a lot of times we get tired of working. We get tired of the grind. We get tired of getting up every day and doing the same thing over and over again, exerting ourselves to the max, then having the muster energy to come home, if I'm a sister, cook, clean, be a mother, then get back in the morning and do it all over again. Or if I'm a brother, I'm I'm sitting back here. These brothers are on the route still, grinding for the camp to help make sure the camp is taken care of. They come here. They got to get out of the zone, unload, switch modes, get to these seats, get class, go home, deal with problems, deal with issues, eat, and then go back and do this over again. A lot of times it's exhausting. It's mentally taxing on top of the physical taxing process that comes with this hard work. But we're going to kind of read about Jacob and what he endured even with Laban. So, Genesis chapter 31, verse 38 through 42.
Come. Genesis chapter 31 and verse 38 reads, This 20 years have I been with thee. Thy ewes and thy she-goats have not cast their young, and the rams of thy flock have I not eaten.
So he says, what he's saying is, all your goats and all your sheep, I haven't sat back here and eaten and taken advantage of any of your merchandise. I haven't taken the opportunity for me to come up in the midst of me working for you. Read on.
Verse 39, That which was torn of beasts I brought not unto thee. I bear the loss of it.
So he took the loss. If there was an animal that sat back here and killed a goat or a sheep, that means that animal is his. He took financial loss. He took financial responsibility. And it also shows that on a work ethic perspective, he didn't sit back and establish any shortcuts. Because Israel as a whole loves to take shortcuts. And they want to blame it on Esau. This is Esau, we're in his wicked kingdom. I don't got to work hard. We do it all the time. But when you sit back here and read great men, they had integrity in every arena that they were thrust in. He said, listen, I know Laban, listen, the crazy thing is this. He had every justification to sit back here and kind of huckster Laban. Because Laban screwed him over from the beginning. If you're familiar with Laban, Laban promised him he would have Rachel if he worked 7 years for him. And on his wedding night, he gave him his older sister. And he was pissed off and said, well, if you want Rachel, work another 7 years. You don't think he knew that off rip, that he was going to set him up like that? And as soon as Jacob knew he was getting screwed over, did he sit back here and take that as an opportunity to steal from him, to rob from him, to go cut corners and go shortcuts to get his way? No. He still was honorable. He did his job, and he dedicated regardless, even if he was being screwed over. He's showing you elements of superior work ethic and superior dedication.
Character.
These are the lessons that we're supposed to be learning while we're reading. Read on.
Verse 39, That which was torn of beasts I brought not unto thee. I bear the loss of it. Of my hand didst thou require it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night.
So whether it was stolen by day or night, I had to take that loss too. Which means what? He had to sit back here and make sure the shifts he was working, he had to work longer hours to make sure nothing was being stolen or taken. Because whatever was stolen was on his dime.
And he couldn't select, it ain't mine, so I ain't tripping.
He couldn't sit back here and take that lackadaisical approach in his work, in his responsibility. Read on.
Verse 40, Thus I was in the day that drought consumed me.
Now he's going back into times when drought consumed him. What's an idea of when drought consumes somebody? When you're dehydrated, when you're grinding and you're working so hard that you damn near pass out. That's when drought consumes somebody. Where you work so hard that you nearly pass out from overwork. Read on.
And the frost by night.
He didn't complain about the conditions.
Listen,
Because there's labor, I ain't gonna lie, there's labor. There's days you're gonna move boxes in the rain, there's days you're gonna move boxes in the sun.
There's a box move day tomorrow, man.
Yeah.
It's raining all day tomorrow, bro. Get ready for it. Anyway.
Whatever it is, it just shows the kind of mindset he had. He didn't complain about the conditions that he had to serve.
He didn't complain about his plight. He didn't complain about the work. He didn't complain about the responsibility. This was 20 years of grind. Day in and day out, any elements, about to pass out. Then he's about in frost by night. Those conditions get cold as hell. I don't know if you've worked in freezing cold weather. It's not a fun thing. And it's not a fun thing to pass out when it's so damn hot outside and you're overextended. Read on.
And the frost by night, and my sleep departed from my eyes.
And no sleep. And I think we're accustomed to that right now. The no sleep, the tiredness. There's no time for anything. You're exhausted. You go home. You got more work at home. Everywhere is work, 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 work. Am I right or wrong?
God.
That's what we all face to some degree. But we can't run from that work ethic. We can't run from that burden that we all have to face in our life. And for those of us who are facing this, how did Jacob handle it? That's how we have to look at it. For the brothers in Houston, brothers in San Antonio that are adding on this work, adding on these grinds, adding on these routes, adding on the responsibilities that's taking more from us. These are the concepts we have to hold on to. Read on.
Thus have I been 20 years in thy house. I served thee 14 years for thy 2 daughters.
And the crazy thing is, after those 14 years, he wanted out. And Laban kept him longer. Read on.
And 6 years for thy cattle. And thou hast changed my wages 10 times.
And in this situation, he was getting his wages constantly swapped. Constantly switched.
I got you. I'm gonna hook you up.
Because the wages back then were more cattle. The wages were more cattle. And what he would say is, okay, if the cattle, I'll take the dark cattle, you take the light cattle. But when he would realize that the light cattle were getting larger than the dark cattle, he said, well, I want the light cattle. You take the dark cattle. He kept flip-flopping on them. Then he'll take the dark cattle, then they start growing more. And he's like, no, I want the dark cattle. He kept switching his
10
his
times,
money.
Doc. 10 times, Doc.
Exactly.
That's vexing.
That's vexing as hell.
Because you don't know, like, bro, why are you doing this, bro?
But so my point is this. I'm not implying that wages are going to get taken or stripped or screwed over. I'm not saying that. I'm just showing us that in the midst of our grind, in the midst of our battle, a lot of times things aren't going to work out the way we want to immediately when we're doing it. So you're going to feel like sometimes when you're working in the grind that you're just spinning your wheels. You're going to feel that feeling of spinning your wheels. And I think we've all faced that too, especially as a camp, as a church body, when we're building a camp from scratch. That idea of working and grinding, and all you got as a reward from yesterday's work is some more work tomorrow. You got time to go home, stretch, and eat, because you got to go out here and touch this work again. And that mindset can be exhausting mentally if you can't look at it with the proper perspective. Okay? Now, let's keep going.
Verse 42.
Verse 42.
Except the Most High of my father, the Most High of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac have been with me. Surely thou hadst sent me away now empty.
Because at this particular point, he had left. Laban and all his people caught him up and was pissed. Laban was mad that Jacob left him, but Laban was never going to leave him if he didn't make the move. So this was the Most High backing a decision. And once again, I'm not trying to go into the entire story of Laban and Jacob. I'm just trying to show you traits of work ethic and discipline and what ends up happening when a man or woman have the proper work ethic, the proper mentality in their work ethic. Because a lot of us, we might give our best effort, but if things don't work out the way we want to, how do we react? We quit jobs, we throw tantrums, we get angry, we give less. That's not how our example functioned. He busted his tail, things didn't go his way, he still pushed through it. He still maintained the excellency of his effort. And these are the lessons we should follow and pattern ourselves after if we want to find happiness. And I'm going to transition that into the Apocrypha, into the Josephus. Let's go to Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews. Antiquities of the Jews. Book 2. Where's mine? Oh, it's right here in front of me. Duh. Antiquities of the Jews, Book 2.
What chapter?
Book 2, Chapter 1. No, Book 2, Chapter 2, Paragraph 1. My fault. Book 2, Chapter 2, Paragraph 1.
God. where it say how Joseph, the youngest of Jacob's son, was envied by his
Nope,
brother?
nope. I want book 2, chapter 2, paragraph 1. Whoever got it, give it to me, man.
I got you. Antiquities of the Jews, book 2, chapter 2, paragraph 1. It happened that Jacob came so great happiness as rarely any other person had arrived at.
So now we're going to sit back here and talk about Jacob's happiness, because at this particular time, he had already left Laban. He became independent. He nurtured and maintained that same work ethic that he had under Laban. And now he was able to sit back here and migrate to the land of Canaan, flourish, get powerful, and find happiness. We're going to find out how Laban attained happiness. Because everybody talks about happiness as that catchword, as that special thing. Everybody wants to be happy, right? But we're going to find out what were the elements of a happy person. Read on from the top again.
God. Paragraph 1. It happened that Jacob came to so great happiness as rarely any other person had arrived at. He was richer than the rest of the inhabitants of that country.
So one of the elements of his happiness was his financial wealth. He was financially wealthy. He was stable. And he was richer than everybody in that country. He was a powerful man. Read on.
And was at once envied and admired for such virtuous sons.
He was envied and admired because all of his children had virtue. Because whatever virtue and talents and ability that Jacob had, he shared it to who?
His sons.
He shared it to, he instilled it into his sons. Judah, Benjamin, all the way to Issachar. Okay, read on.
For they were deficient in nothing.
They were deficient in nothing. So alongside his significant work ethic that Jacob had, he developed his son to where they didn't have any glaring deficiencies in their spirit. Read on.
But were of great souls, both for laboring with their hands and
so they were great souls based upon their laboring. This is the laboring with their hands.
Mm-hmm.
That was a virtue that obviously Jacob had, and he shared to his sons. And what else?
and enduring of toil.
And the enduring of toil.
Wow.
That he's trying to show you the elements of what it takes to even find happiness. People want happiness, but they're lazy. People want happiness, but they can't keep a job. People want happiness, but they can't finish anything.
Quit.
What made Jacob rich and successful and potent? His ability to endure toil, not quit. Not quit when things get difficult. Not fail because they had a bad boss or a horrible boss.
He had a bad boss.
He had a horrible boss. He had a horrible boss. But you know, we'll sit back here for bad experience, bad boss, quit, go to the next job. And we'll have all these excuses why we can't endure toil, or I couldn't get to work. I didn't have a car. Then get your ass in the damn bus and get to the damn job. Am I right or wrong? Oh, it was raining out. It was too cold outside. I've heard these excuses. Too cold? What kind of craziness is this? You must listen, if it's too cold outside, then what's going to happen when them lights cut off inside?
Real cold.
It's going to get cold inside too. You know what I'm saying? And what ends up happening is and I've heard this in the Israel community all the time, man, working nothing but a job. Well, then what are you supposed to do? Was to act like kings and princes and being broke as hell? A job. This was especially in the 90s. And a job ain't nothing but a work, or working nothing but a job.
But, hey,
Like, what the hell does that mean? How are you supposed to function and sustain yourself?
Because you got to explain a little more detail.
Please do.
Because
please, maybe I missed
It's
something.
your story though.
This is everybody's story, hopefully.
Yeah, you gotta break the Debbie Cake story down. Because
Oh.
people might think that we're saying, oh, you're broke. We're not saying that. We're not coming cavalier and, oh, you don't got nothing. We're saying,
I'm not saying that. I hope everybody in TV lands and think I'm talking like that.
The internet world doesn't know us like that. They don't know us like that. When you're saying when you came in the truth, and you were what, 15 years old, right?
Yeah.
You came in at 15.
14-ish.
And brothers at the time were living off of change and Debbie cakes. But I heard brothers eating Debbie cakes for like breakfast and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Breakfast was Debbie cakes and what else?
Oh no, listen. It was just Debbie cake like Debbie cakes, man. Ramen. Those are staples, man.
So
No
brothers,
peanut juice. You might know what peanut juice is. And ain't nobody heard of peanut juice? Peanut juice? No?
it's the
No
little
way.
plant-
Listen, peanut juice is when you go in the hood grocery stores, and you get like a pink drink, a grape drink, and it's like there's no real label on it. Like what the hell company is this? It's not like Sunkist or these awesome like Welch's. You're not getting Welch. You're getting peanut juice, man. Peanut juice is just like it's like a lower version of Tampico. Everybody knows Tampico. It's a lower version of Tampico. Tampico is that bright orange, like citrus. It's a citrusy drink.
Yes.
It's not orange juice. It's not pineapple juice. It's just orangish, and that's the drink. It's orangish drink.
It's
And it's like a lower level of that. And they got like flavors of like an orange. There's a pink color.
But how big?
And
was
it's
it?
not lemonade.
But
It's
it
not a
wasn't-
lemonade flavor. It's like
I
it's
think I
kind
did.
of
I
close
think I
and
did.
similar to a lemonade flavor.
Wasn't peanut juice like?
Everybody was black. All black folks
I
had
probably
peanut
did.
juice. Y'all get out of here, man. Peanut
You know I
juice?
forgotten. Right?
No
Listen,
way.
Listen, wasn't like that real.
That they call it fruit punch,
Yeah.
but it don't really taste like fruit punch.
1% juice.
Yeah, it's like it's horrible.
1%
A lot of sugar. Listen, a lot of sugar, and it's similar to a fruit punch.
Was it like quarter? How much it cost per peanut juice?
It was less than $1, bro. I think it was because it's still in the gallon
Oh,
containers.
yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, that's the peanut juice you're talking about.
Yeah, them
Oh.
gallon drinks. I'm like, it was less
Like the
than
milk
Tampico.
gallon, like the milk gallon.
Yes,
red
peanut
cap.
juice.
Okay,
Am I the only person
no,
talking know
was
this?
it called peanut juice?
No, that was the
Okay,
nickname we
that's
called
all.
it.
Okay, I didn't know peanut.
It wasn't like there's a peanut factory in all these cities in the nation. But it's a
I
nick-
know the little boil on top.
Yeah,
right,
it's
that you
terrible.
put- yeah, that's what
It's
I-
those, well, that too. That was bad drink too. We just nicknamed it peanut juice because it was this low caliber juice, and it was just like a lot of water and like sugar and these weird flavors. Like it wasn't apple. It was like a green drink, and it wasn't apple. It was like apple-ish, but they would call it like green. It was green something. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, I kind of went into it like it was the point.
But brothers live. But you always said that brothers would live.
Well,
There was no way.
Israel as a whole, when we first started out, everybody was broke. Everybody was asked to come in and be a part of something, and nobody had any way to sustain themselves. And that was literally in mid-90s. And it took the evolution of Israel, the evolution of the maturity of Israel on a business level, a work ethic level, has come a long way since the 80s and the 90s. And we're still trying to raise the bar every day in that arena. But one of the reasons why the bar needs to be raised, because the idea of hard work and the mentality of multitasking and taking on multiple responsibilities to get to a common goal wasn't the goal. The goal was, we're going to read some Bible verses and then wait till Christ comes back. Years ago, the idea that 2000 was going to be the year Christ was going to come back. Who was here when everybody thought 2000 was going to be the year that Christ came back? I was. Who else was here? You were here, right?
I wasn't.
Just you.
I was 2 years
You were in high school, weren't you? Yeah?
I was doing.
Yes, this guy was in high school at the
I was
time.
being wicked.
There's nobody left for these stories, these war stories to talk about.
You was how God. That's how
That was it. That is craziness. You know, for me, like years and dates, they all blend into one. So I'm not even like conscious that people like weren't here during that time, like doing the work of the Most High. It's like it was like from like 97 to like 2010 is like one day. That's how it feels like right now. I don't.
goes to show how fully focused you were.
I'm not even gonna say that much. Listen, I would like to say I was so much in the
Or
spirit
distracted.
that Yahweh Shai was my primary goal. I'm just bad with history stuff.
But I was saying this. So you're saying that there was an evolution of how we perceive certain situations.
And how we
Over
receive
time.
work ethic and
Yeah.
discipline and dedication and what it took to sustain a nation. The idea was that you could sit back here, and I want to make sure I'm clear about this. For brothers who are sitting back here working their jobs in the world, coming to class, getting taught, there's nothing wrong with that. But if we want to achieve something, if we want as a whole, as a unit, to accomplish something significant, then guess what has to happen? More has to be invested into whatever you're doing. If I'm a sister and your job is to sit back here and produce your coin for your household, you're going to have to put out more to get more back. That's all I'm saying. This message is for the individuals who are in a camp structure, who are interdependent of one another, and who are having to work hard and work harder than what they might have perceived they had to do based upon the body and the camp need. This is also for sisters who are sitting back here supporting their husbands doing this work that have to bring something to the table and contribute. And this is about understanding that we shouldn't be weary and well doing. We can't get weary in dedicating and working hard and work ethic and sacrifice. We can't get tired of doing these taxing things on the mind and the body, because that is what the Most High ordains if we want to see positive results.
It's a series of campaigns.
Life is about a series of campaigns, and how hard it's going to go into the certain elements of what we all have to have if we want to see success with the work of our hands.
No.
It's not just being a burro and just working like a damn slave and thinking things are going to work out. It's not just that either.
No.
We're showing the first element is work ethic, enduring toil. And this is the first part, because enduring toil makes a lot of people fall off because they can't sustain a work ethic. A lot of our people are always stopping and starting their lessons because they just can't finish what they start in the first place. A lot of times sisters might be told to go to school so they can sit back here and get a better job to bring it back home, so you're not working as hard, you're working smarter, not harder. How many sisters have started school and quit? Started school and quit. Started and quit. Started and quit. Then you're sitting back here wondering why there's not enough in the house. It happens all the time. In order to sit back here and get what you want in 5 years, there's got to be a 5-year dedication to even get to that point. What are you willing to sacrifice? How long are you going to endure the toil to get to where you need down the line?
So it's not just grinding in vain.
And that's the point. It's grinding with a plan.
There we
Grinding
go.
with the strategy. It's yes, ma'am?
What about like taking a vacation?
We can't even get to that.
Well, I'm going to say this. Great question. Because when I'm sitting back here and reading about Jacob, I'm not hearing the vacation. I'm hearing the enduring of the toil. Because this is the thing. He cranked out a dub. 20 big ones. Just to start. He sat back here and served Laban for 20 years and just got some damn sheep and some lambs. And that was all he got to start over again. Yes, it did. Well, it depends on a half empty and half full situation. If my outlook was negative, some goddamn sheep and goats ain't enough. Yeah. I burnt 20 years of my life for some damn goats.
Or
if I'm positive, I can say, the Most High allowed me to start with something.
And gave me virtues on top of the
And he gave me the work ethic I needed to sit back and build an empire on my own.
On my own. There we go.
That's the point. So it depends on how you look at things.
Yeah.
So the answer to the question is, that break is going to come once the proper foundation is set and the work ethic is accomplished and the job is accomplished. And once I sit back here and get the family where it needs to be, then I can sit back here and talk about vacation. Vacation is not a dirty word. It's not a bad, dirty word. But you know what? It's a bad, dirty word when we haven't built nothing yet and we're living check to check and we're struggling. And that's the point. The point is, can we sit back here and dedicate in it? That enduring the toil is a word that we all have to hold on to. Can we endure toil? Can we endure that grind? Look up toil.
I'm looking right now.
Because can we endure it for a long enough period of time to start to see the fruits of our labor? Now, the enduring of the toil and the work ethic is one element of what we need to see success.
Toil. Working.
What about the 1828, man?
That's
no good definition right there. What you got? What's the definition you got, man?
I got 12. Y'all
in your Rudy Poot dictionary, man. What's that Rudy Poot stuff?
I got
828.
I got Oxford out.
I got it.
Good.
I'm moving too long.
Listen, okay.
You got it up.
Yeah, to labor,
Yeah.
to work, to exert strength with pain and fatigue of body or mind, particularly of the damn body, with efforts of some continence or duration.
Yeah.
And it's showing you, it says weary, to over labor.
Oh,
Exactly. He's telling you the process of over laboring, the process of being extended and grinding and feeling exerted is necessary to find that happiness that we're looking for
But
on the back end.
hate not laborious work.
You taking scriptures from here already, bro. Let you see what you're doing, man. Look at these guys, man.
Damn, brother.
Yes, sis.
Are you talking about like in the body, right? Not like.
Now, I'm talking about the body, or you working for your family. It's both. This ain't just a camp-related situation. Because for us to get whatever we want to get, listen, we're going to have to learn to work hard and work with a plan. Dedicate hard and work with a plan so we can keep evolving, getting out of the rut trap. I look at a lot of the young people that are just trying to get in the workforce. You realize working is cool, but damn, listen, there's barely enough to pay bills, right? Working the regular gigs is not enough. Money to go around. People want cars. People have basic necessities. You got to get. So you have to sit back and really get accustomed to this toil thing. And while you're young, finding an opportunity to sit back here, grind and work a trade or learn a trade would be a smart play.
Productive trade, yeah.
A productive trade for sisters or whatever the case is, to sit back here and develop a skill to where you can get paid better to sustain yourself and your family. So if we're going to toil, let's toil in a productive arena. I can say for years we toiled in an unproductive arena.
Yeah, we have.
We toiled like a mug in unproductive arenas and ventures, which we're trying to evolve as of this day.
Come.
And I'm gonna take the Jacob theory. We learned a lot from this. I'll take my little ewes and sheep with me, and we'll sit back here and take the lessons that we got from our little sheep and goats. We're gonna sit back here and augment the school and the camp at a higher level down the line. This isn't about sitting back here and functioning in regret and being angry. It's not about that. This is about, can we embrace the tools necessary to be productive in the eyes of the Most High in Christ. That's all this is about.
And use my situation as a stepping stone to a greater scenario that also will require a greater level of faith.
Because
we're not just saying work for no faith. Faith without works is, of course, dead, right?
Yeah.
So now, you look at the word, you said toil, it mirrors the word diligence, which means careful and persistent work or effort. Careful or persistent work or effort.
Yep.
So being a person that can deal with toil or endure toil is a person that can endure diligence.
Yep.
Because the Most High does require diligence from all His people.
And that's what He's showing you. Can I be diligent in what I put my hand to? When I counsel with my husband and we iron out the direction, can I be diligent in the process of getting this done? Yes, sis?
Hey, so when you're talking about like, can you handle the toil? Like, what if
the toil?
The toil. What if you can't? Does that mean like this is not for you, or?
Nope. If I can't handle the toil, that just means I got to keep working hard. Because none of us come into this knowledge with all the solutions.
Exactly.
None of us come into this knowledge with every answer on tap. But are we humble enough to get better at what we are good at? So many times we tell ourselves we're not good at something. And as soon as we tell ourselves we're not good in something, that is our reason to quit. That is our reason to not push forward. And that's what we can't allow ourselves to function in. If all we're supposed to do is to point out what we're not strong at, but then align ourselves with people who are strong in that arena. Because for every person that might not be strong in handling toil, there is a person within 10 to 15 feet of you that's pretty damn good at what you're not good at. That is what the body is for. That is what the unity is for.
So it's a spiritual support system?
The unity is not about us getting stronger through osmosis. Unity is not about your strength hides my flaw. My strength hides your flaw. That's not unity. Unity is, if a person around me is strong at something, let me learn from that person's strength. If I'm strong at something, let me show somebody who's not strong in this how to do it.
Iron sharpens iron.
We strengthen each other with our virtues so that everyone can add virtues in this body through mentorship. Because most of the world doesn't really give two craps about us. So whatever you're lacking, it's hard to find help to fix what you don't have in the world. In this arena, there's mentorship aplenty. If you need help, it's there. The problem with this damn group, half the people don't want the help. It's help a phone call away, and I won't call the right people. I'll call the person who is the direct opposite of what I need. I'll call the opposite person. I won't call the person who can fix me. I'll call the person who can co-sign my negative. You know, I wonder why I'm not getting blessed. I call people and I don't get blessed. What happens to me? People do it all the time because I'm calling the people who I want to enable my flesh.
Wow.
Versus calling the people who can actually strengthen me. And the crazy, this was the culture that Jacob was establishing with his sons. All of them were about strength because their father left them example.
That's the correct regime to have.
And there wasn't any flaws in the group because all of their flaws were exposed and worked on.
Yeah. And that's what the work does. The work exposes the flaws.
So that they can get fixed.
That's whole. So I can say I'm not that and look down on myself. I can say, okay, cool. This is the Most High showing me this should be my next goal.
Yes.
My next goal is I gotta learn how to type faster. My next goal is I gotta learn how to do more reading or be a more skillful reader.
I can't sit back here and keep saying I'm just not a morning person. I've heard that crap. I don't know how long. Stop making a damage. I'm not a morning person. Well, I'm not a night person. What's that got to do with the price of tea in China?
I'm not a day person.
Come on, what are you talking about? If you're not, so you're a vampire? You're not a day person? My point is, we make so many excuses, and we limit ourselves with our mind and the crap in us that we don't challenge ourselves to be better. So if I'm not naturally good at something, doesn't mean I'm a lost cause. It doesn't mean I can't do it. I just have to be more humble in that arena to acquire what I don't have. It's about humility because the Most High says He gives to all men liberally. He'll give to every person based on how much they want it.
How bad they want it.
And how bad they want it. So listen.
I got to make one point though. I know you got class.
No.
You got a good class going.
Keep going now.
But I wanted for
No.
For the sisters that are in those scenarios where they are focusing on long-term goals.
Yeah.
A lot of times a person's value increases because things were built together. Like brothers. When brothers go through different phases, when we first opened up the box game, right?
Yeah.
And we had about how much we had, like $500 in the bank? $500.
Yeah.
We didn't have nothing now. We had
Less than
$500.
that.
We had 500.
We had hope and a dream, man.
We had below $500 and we had like 10 oils because the storm.
I'm
not going there. The storm came. I know better. I know better. So the storm came, and
it was a mighty storm.
But and we lost situations. We lost situations.
Yeah,
We started from scratch again.
Yes.
We're back at scratch. This is scratch number 3 for me.
Yes.
Right. So you're gonna go through multiple scratches.
3.
Right? That was scratch 3 for me. You probably did more scratches out. But the point was the people that we built with and that we fought with, we took L's, we took losses, we took casualties. But you know what? People that lasted, it builds the love. The love is that much more there because I remember what I went through when we were suffering together. And now we're here.
And what we're supposed to do is from whatever downturn or negative situation you go through, you're supposed to take it and learn from it and be better from it. And structure things better and operate better and be better at based off what you saw didn't go right, make it better the next time. But let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep reading in Antiquities of the Jews, Josephus.
Both for laboring with their hands and enduring of toil. And shrewd also in understanding.
So it's not just about working hard and enduring hardness. There has to be a shrewdness and understanding and intelligence. The Most High uses sagacity as another word, whether it's a keenness of intuition, a keenness of how to figure out solutions in the midst of your work. It's a combination of things. But hard work, intelligence, setting your proper plans, it's what's needed if you want to find success and happiness. Read on.
And the Most High exercised such a providence over him.
Meaning the providence that the Most High put over Jacob, meaning it was the Most High looking after Jacob and his family. It was the Most High looking after the affairs and the planning of Jacob and his family. Read on.
And such a care of his happiness as to bring him the greatest blessings, even out of what appeared to be the most sorrowful condition.
And the Most High would sit back here and put Jacob through the most sorrowful conditions and still bring out the greatest blessings because of his experience and his work ethic and his devotion to the Heavenly Father. Okay, let's keep going.
To make him the cause of our forefathers' departure out of Egypt. Him and his posterity.
Okay, then we're going to let that go. And we're going to sit back here and go to 1 Kings chapter 3. I think we got the point of that. That was just an initial, I guess, understanding or some clarification as to how the Most High deals with us when we're trying to live the right way. 1 Kings chapter 3.
What verse, man?
This is the chapter.
That's my okay.
So, 1 Kings chapter 3. We're going to read it down pretty much, I would say through 15. 1 through 15.
1 Kings chapter 3 verse 1.
Now we're going to start talking about Solomon, his kingdom, and and all the process Solomon went through to establish that top-end kingdom.
Yeah.
Because everybody talks about Solomon with the greatest wisdom, the greatest understanding. Everybody says, yeah, man, you know Solomon, silver wasn't accounted for during Solomon's time, right? I've heard that 1,000 times. We hear about all this fanciness about Solomon, and Solomon was phenomenal. But I never hear people talk about the cost of establishing Solomon's kingdom. Nobody talks about what it took to build this up. So we're going to read this. 1 Kings chapter 3. What was the cost? The spiritual cost. Yeah.
And Solomon made affinity with Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and took Pharaoh's daughter and brought her into the city of David,
which is Jerusalem. Read on.
Until he had made an end of building his own house, and the house of the Lord, and the wall of Jerusalem round about.
Solomon was named as peaceable. And during his reign for 40 years, there was no war. Well, that didn't mean they weren't extremely busy during Solomon's reign. During Solomon's reign, he built the temple first, which took 7 years. He built his house, which took 13. And then he sat back here and built all the surrounding walls of Jerusalem to refortify it, to protect the city of David. All these tasks took on many of hours, much work and much toil. Even with the idea of, it's going to talk about it, but the gathering of financial resources and riches. These expeditions that Solomon ended up establishing took resources and time, man hours, grind and sacrifice, much toil. But read on.
Verse 2. Only the people sacrificed in high places, because there was no house built unto the name of the Lord unto those days.
The people's justification to serve other gods was that there was no temple for the people to serve in.
Wow.
Read on.
Verse 3. And Solomon loved the Lord, walking in the statutes of David his father. Only he sacrificed and burnt incense in high places.
Now we knew he did that down the line when he went left. Read on.
And the king went to
Gibeon
to sacrifice there, for that was a great high place. 1,000 burnt offerings did Solomon offer upon that altar.
You got to even understand the work ethic it took to offer 1,000 burnt offerings. How much work did it take to kill and slaughter each and every one of those animals? And do the necessary sacrifice to please the Heavenly Father. I go into that because that wasn't some simple feat. To kill 1,000 animals to the Most High in one day, just to sit back here and please the Heavenly Father, that's what happened. That wasn't a light or small feat. So Solomon himself wasn't he wasn't afraid of toil and hard work as well. 1,000 sacrifices in one day. Read on.
Verse 5. And Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night. And the Most High said, ask what I shall give thee.
So the Most High came to Solomon and said, what should I give you for these 1,000 sacrifices you gave me? This dedicated work you gave me. What do you want? Read on.
And Solomon said, thou hast showed unto thy servant David, my father, great mercy, according as he walked before thee in truth, and in righteousness, and in uprightness of heart with thee. And thou hast kept for him this great kindness, that thou hast given him a son to sit on his throne, as it is this day. Verse 7. And now, O Lord my power, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David my father. And I am but a little child, I know not how to go out or come in. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people, which thou hast chosen, a great people, that cannot be numbered nor counted for multitude. Verse 9. Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this thy so great a people?
So all Solomon asked after sacrificing 1,000 animals was just to give me understanding on how to judge your people the right way. And what it's showing you is this element that we should hold on to in order to get the blessings and get looked upon with the Most High's favor. It's still hard work and toil. 1,000 damn sacrifices. The second part was the pureness of your intention, the pureness of your request. If you want things to work out your way, your request has to be pure. Your intentions and what you want from the blessing has to be pure. A lot of times we'll work hard for something, but it's you can take it and read James chapter 4. How we'll sit back and sacrifice and work hard, but we'll ask amiss because we want to take the what we're asking for and consume it upon our lust. If you want the Most High's responses on your side, if you want to get blessed, you better make sure your sacrifices for the right reasons, your intentions are pure. And what you're asking for the right reasons. And that what you're getting, you can use the blessings you're getting to accommodate your people on a larger level, or to help your family on a larger level. Those are the things we should be asking for. And those are the things we should be working towards. So not only do we have to have that toil in our work ethic, what we're asking for and our intentions in what we're asking for have to be pure. Read on.
Verse 10. And the speech pleased the Lord, that Solomon had asked this thing. And the Most High said unto him.
So he's showing you these are the things that pleases the Most High. These are the requests. These are the prayers. This is the conduct that pleases the Heavenly Father. Read on.
Because thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked for thyself long life, neither hast asked riches for thyself, nor hast asked for the life of thine enemies, but hast asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment. Behold, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given thee a wise and an understanding heart, so that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee.
So we're saying our prayers and our work ethic and what we're working towards has to be to benefit the body and not yourself. And he's saying, because you didn't ask for something for yourself and you asked for abilities and talents to help the body, watch what he does in return because the intentions were right. Read on.
Verse 13. And I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all thy days.
So what he's saying is, not only am I going to sit back and give you the wisdom and understanding that you asked for, but because your request was so pure, I'm going to give you the things that a regular person needs also. What this chapter explains is that the Most High doesn't mind giving you physical blessings, carnal blessings, as long as he knows that your number one priority is to put the body of Christ first. If your number one priority is to put the body of Christ first, then he will sit back and have no problems with giving you all the other ancillary blessings that you might want or need. But he's not going to give you what you want if your number one requirement and desire isn't to please the Most High, and or for sisters, stay in order with your husband. That's got to be your number one desire. And he's showing you that if that is where your mindset at, you'll get the happiness and blessing you want. If your priorities are right, mixed with the toil and work ethic. Read on.
Verse 14. And if thou wilt walk in my ways, to keep my statutes and my commandments, as thy father David did walk, then I will lengthen thy days.
And then it talks about the ability to sustain the good effort for extended periods of time. If you can do that, I'll keep blessing you. Read on.
Verse 15. And Solomon awoke, and behold, it was a dream.
Keep the arrow down.
And he came to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and offered up burnt offerings, and offered peace offerings, and made a feast to all his servants.
So we're going to let this verse go. And now we're going to jump into 1 Kings chapter 10. Because like we talked about earlier, these are all the elements of what it's going to take to get the Most High's attention, and the elements of the proper work ethic required to get the Most High's attention and blessing. We're going into this because a lot of Israel, whether it's in San Antonio, Houston, and these surrounding cities that we're tapping into, isbhpk, the work ethic hasn't increased. It has abounded. Brothers are getting stretched out further than normal, and we have to understand this is part of the course. This is part of the battle that we're all going through. And we have to embrace this process the right way and want the Most High to continue to bless us. 1 Kings chapter 10, verse 1, we're going to read down.
1 Kings chapter 10, verse 1.
Now, listen, you read this, my water. Read that.
Come
1
on.
Kings chapter 10, verse 1 through, just read from verse 1 through 21.
Come. 1 Kings chapter 10, verse 1 reads, And when the queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord, she came to prove him with hard questions.
Now, 1 Kings chapter 3 talks about the nativity, or the beginning of when David came, when Solomon came into power. This was the beginning in 1 Kings 3. 1 Kings 10 is towards the tail end of his kingdom, after the majority of the accomplishments were already set in place. Okay, so now Queen Sheba heard of Solomon's fame from Ethiopia and came down to have a visit with Solomon. What a lot of Ethiopian Jews and Ethiopian Orthodox Jews like to say, they like to take this interaction between Solomon and Sheba to say that Solomon had a love child with Sheba, and that child, and through those generations, end up being through the line of Haile Selassie. But when you read through the scriptures, there is no record of Solomon even dealing with Sheba at all. Okay? So let's keep reading.
And she came to Jerusalem with a very great train, with camels, that bear spices, and very much gold, and precious stones. And when she was come to Solomon, she communed with him of all that was in her heart.
So she had questions, and she communicated with him and brought gifts. Read on.
And Solomon told her all her questions. There was not anything hid from the king, which he told her not.
Mm-hmm.
And when the queen of Sheba had seen all Solomon's wisdom, and the house that he had built, and the meat of his table, and the sitting of his servants, and the attendance of his ministers, and their apparel, and his cupbearers, cupbearers, and his ascent, by which he went up unto the house of the Lord, there was no more spirit in her.
So what Sheba saw when she came around the entire operation of the kingdom, she saw the caliber of the cupbearers, the servants, the ministers, what they dressed, how they carried themselves, and everything about Solomon's kingdom was at another level, a higher caliber of level. And she was floored by the caliber of how all the people in the kingdom operate.
Conduct.
The conduct, the dress code, the entire status and the vibe of the nation was on another level. Read on.
And she said to the king, it was a true report that I heard in my own land of thy acts and of thy wisdom. Howbeit I believed not the words until I came, and my eyes had seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And behold, the half was not told me. Thy wisdom and prosperity exceedeth the fame which I heard. Happy are thy men, happy are these thy servants, which stand continually before thee.
So the men were happy, the servants were happy, everything was in order. Now what we're going to find out when we read about Rehoboam is they were happy, but they were also working hard as hell.
Yeah.
Because when people always talk about the caliber of Solomon's kingdom, but they don't talk about the fact that in order to keep anything at a standard that high, everybody has to maximize themselves. Their work ethic, their dedication, their sacrifice has to be here to keep things up. Look at what you guys as brothers and sisters have to do to keep your school up. Let's use San Antonio. What do we have to go through? What do sisters go through to make sure all the counseling is done, to make sure sisters are taken care of, to make sure the school is clean, to make sure the operations of the sisterhood is right on point? How much work does it take to get that accomplished? How much work does it take to keep all the minds right? And for the men, how hard do you have to work to keep everybody covered and fed? What type of dedication does it take for everybody to be covered? Yeah. We can talk about gold standard, but to sit back here and get to the nuts and bolts of what it takes to be great, everybody has to give everything they got in order for anything to be a gold standard.
And there's a mutual acceptance of I'm taking the L, you're taking the L, we're all taking L's for the greater good of our operation.
And I don't want to say L, I want to say we're all putting in the toil.
Well,
because it's toil. It's hard work. Everybody has to sit back here and commit to hard work if there is an expectation of success.
Yeah.
And I think as a nation, we don't understand how hard we have to work to be successful. I don't think we understand how much dedication it takes to accomplish anything. And if you want to accomplish something great, you have to put more in. Yes, sis.
So are you pushing hard work in the arena outside of the camp so that we can bring those attributes to the camp?
That's the goal.
Because sometimes,
well, I'm going to say, wait, say that again.
Are you an advocate for hard work like in the workplace, not within the body, not within?
I want to say both. Because the thing is this, for a sister, if I got a sister, there's nothing really established for sisters as far as work job scenarios. So y'all are responsible for having to put a brick into the house for your husbands and your families. You're going to have to put hard work and toil in those arenas too to help sustain your family. I haven't seen any home sustained if the wife wasn't busting her tail and dedicating to make sure the family was covered also.
When you say hard work, that's so. For example, I'll use myself. I'm not trying to make excuses. I just make sure I get
hard work or hardly working. That's the joke everybody.
It's like with me, it's always a hustle somewhere else. But anyway, so I feel like as long as I am doing what I need to do as far as going to work and maintaining the level of work that I need to bring in the income, that I don't necessarily want to strive to be a manager. I don't strive to want to go higher because I know that the higher the position and the more money, the more responsibility it takes away from the duties of the household, giving to the body and things like that. So I wouldn't say that me in my position right now, I'm complacent, but I'm okay with where I'm at because it's fulfilling the goals that I need for it to fulfill.
And I understand where you're coming from. My answer to you would be, you have to find that sweet spot to like that balance of working hard enough to sustain your family, but not sit back here and take away from the body in your home. There is a balance between the two, because I know exactly what you're saying. Because sometimes when you get to that higher level of management, then they want your weekends, they want your soul damn near,
yeah.
and then for the team,
right.
And then you're a team player. and you might get maybe $5,000 more.
They call it salaried work.
Yeah, oh hell yeah, you're not. It ain't 40 hours no more.
Exactly.
You're knocking at 120 every 2
Right.
weeks for the team. I get it. My thing would be this, and my answer would be: there's some people who need to get pushed that much, and some that don't. Because if I sit back here and tell you no, you don't have to. Another person needs to know you got to give more. Because they don't know what your situation is or what your household situation is, financial wise, structure wise. They might help you got the house. Some people need to know they got to push themselves past their limitations to even get a little bit of growth in their life. I understand your question, but the problem is when you're in a class and in teaching, everybody's situation is a little different. And the answer is you don't got to kill yourself for you. Another person to say, I don't got to kill myself either. And they slow boogie as hell over here, not getting anything accomplished. Getting to the job late, getting fired, making excuses. So it's a touchy situation, but I would say push as far as you can until it affects your home. Get what I'm saying? And it affects your ability to be a great sister and being there for your family. But that limit is based upon your husband and the needs of your family also. Because there's certain times where somebody in the house got to go and push past it. That might be the need, so that the house can function and run the right way. So I can't be that person who gives you that level. So my answer to everybody is push until your husband tells you stop. How about that? Everybody's gonna hook then. If it's that way, push until you're told to slow up. Somebody had a question. Hand their hand up. Yes, ma'am.
So, like, the concept of, like, a housewife is, like, you kind of just stay home and don't work. To me, it was kind of new, and I guess I kind of didn't like it. Because I grew up with my mom at home, and all day, every day, she cooked, cleaned. That's all she ever did. My aunts, my grandma, like, that's all they ever did was be housewives. So when I came here and I saw that sisters had kids and jobs, and they did stuff at home, like, kind of turned me off in a way.
Hell yeah, it would.
I was like, dang, like, that's hard, but do you get to be a housewife or no?
It depends on the household. I'm going to say this. Micah chapter 2 and 11 or 10 would answer that question.
Micah chapter 2 and 10.
Micah chapter 2.
It's 11 and 10, right? 10, 11?
Yeah, Micah 2, verse 10 and 11.
Come. Micah chapter 2, verse 11. If a man walking in the spirit and falsehood do lie, saying, I will prophesy unto thee of wine.
No, it's Micah chapter 2, verse 10.
Okay.
Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest.
This is not our rest. And what I mean is, if I take on the mindset that this is not the place for me to get comfortable, then I'll sit back here and I'll start reprogramming my mind to say, what responsibility or what gap do I need to fill so that I can sustain what me and my husband are building? Or I can sit back here and build and help fill in the blanks of whatever my husband isn't able to do based off what his commitment is for the work in the Most High himself. So you can't put a blanket, none of us can put a blanket level of effort for any of us to follow, because this just isn't our place to be comfortable. So if we just take the notion to be comfortable being uncomfortable, we can always accomplish and get whatever we need done as far as with our requirements for our husbands or with brothers in the work. Okay, so let's keep going. We're going to let that go and go back into 1 Kings chapter 10, verse, where were we at? Verse 9? Verse 9.
Come. Verse 9. Blessed be the Lord thy power, which delighted in thee, to set thee on the throne of Israel, because the Lord loved Israel forever. Therefore made he thee king to do judgment and justice.
So it's just showing you that Sheba saw the blessing of the Most High descended upon Solomon's kingdom. Everybody was covered, everybody was happy, but there was a cost to everybody's happiness. It's one thing to like grind and dedicate and give your hand to the toil and be exhausted, but you know that everything's covered. There is a peace of mind in that. There is a happiness that I've worked hard enough to sustain the needs of my family and to make my husband happy and to do the job necessary. There is a peace of mind that comes from grinding and dedicating enough to know the camp was able to sustain and feed itself, and all the men are covered because of my sacrifice. Partially because of my sacrifice. There is a peace of mind and a happiness that comes when you lay your head down at night, even though you're dead dog tired. And that's the mindset that's coming from even with this kingdom of Solomon's. Everybody was grinding, everybody was dedicated, but they were happy because everybody was covered based upon that level of work that everybody committed themselves to. Okay? Continue.
Verse 10. And she gave the king 120 talents of gold.
120 talents of gold. A talent is 75 pounds. So 75 damn pounds. Because these cats was balling. 75 times 120. That's 9,000 pounds of gold that Sheba gave Solomon. Read on.
And of spices, very great store.
Now the crazy thing is this. Well, it's going to tell you in a second. Keep going.
And precious stones. There came no more such abundance of spices as these which the queen of Sheba gave to King Solomon. And the navy also of Hiram, that brought gold from Ophir, brought in from Ophir great plenty of all almond trees and precious stones.
Now listen, there's conflicting evidence about where Ophir is, because the gold of Ophir was really high caliber gold. And depending on certain books, there was a book that I have here. It was written in like the 20s, if I'm not mistaken. It was called Natural and Moral History by Joseph Acosta. No, it was written in 1604. It's a long dang time ago. And Natural and Moral History of the East and West Indies by Joseph Acosta says that, and this is alleged, it's not 100% proven, but it's alleged that the gold of Ophir was located in Peru. Okay, South America.
You said where?
Peru.
Peru.
South America. Now, when you sit back here and read about Solomon, he would send his navies over to a country, to Ophir, to get this gold, peacocks, apes, and this is in verse 22 of the same chapter. So it would take a year and a half to get to the land, to collect the items, and a year and a half to get back. And the crazy thing is, around that timetable to get from where the Navy is to the Americas was a year and a half. Okay, and peacocks are known to be North American birds, so it's not out of the stretch of understanding to think that Ophir, the gold of Ophir, was in the Americas. So they would sit back here, go to the Americas, get the gold, get the peacocks, get the apes, get this special almug wood, and send it down to Solomon. And they said that they would get 666 talents of gold, which is like almost 50,000 pounds worth of gold every 3 years to stock it into Solomon's kingdom. This is why at the time silver wasn't accounted for, because of their navy, because of their shipping and their exporting. I'm talking about their importing. They were sitting back here getting nothing but the top line, everything with their navy. It's just showing you. Now listen, if you have your navy men making trips, being gone for 3 years at a time, they're grinding. They're dedicating their life to bring this gold to the benefit of the temple. They're dedicating their life to get the precious of everything to bring back to the benefit of the nation. He's showing you that Solomon had the entire nation working, whether it was stockpiling gold, whether it was sitting back here refortifying the walls of the temple, whether it was establishing the construction of the temple, or in the building of his palace. There was so much construction and work going on. Everybody was busy. Everybody was thriving. Everybody was busy. But the idea of thriving and busy go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. And that has to be an acceptance of the Israelite culture. The crazy thing is, we're just used to busting our tail for Esau. But if we bust our tail and work together for each other, we can accomplish great things. Solomon showed it. The nation has showed us countless times. If we just come together and dedicate, we can all come up. Now, let that. I don't want to go into that book no more. Yeah, please do.
And when she gave him 9,000 talents, right?
1
talent of gold, or sorry, 1 pound of gold, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's a lot, bro.
It's a lot. Well, 1 pound equals $21,072 in this time period.
Okay.
So you said 9,000.
Yeah, no, that was 9,000 was just Sheba.
Yeah.
When they all make those runs
to tons.
It was 9,000 pounds.
Yeah, well, a pound of gold in this kingdom is $21,072.
Mm-hmm.
So that equals in this time period $189 million, $648 million. So I'm just saying to make it to this time.
Like I said, it's big money, man.
That's basically $109,000, $1 million.
No.
I wish it was that.
No, I know. 190 million.
That's crazy.
Just round it off. 190 million.
190
you know,
million
X numbers getting confusing that.
Yeah.
190 mil. You gotta say he's in a
mil.
Yeah, $250,000. Anyway, stop. Anyway, let's keep going. So now we're gonna continue in 1 Kings chapter 10.
Verse 12.
Verse 12.
And the king made of the Ogma trees pillars for the house of the Lord, and for the king's house, harps also and psalteries for singers.
So they made that Ogma wood. They used the wood for instruments, and for the priest to make instruments. Read on.
There came no such Ogma trees, nor were seen unto this day. And King Solomon gave unto the queen of Sheba all her desire, whatsoever she asked, beside that which Solomon gave her of his royal bounty.
Read on.
So she turned and went to her own country, she and her servants.
So they didn't do no family business. They just came and talked about the kingdom and how the kingdom was ran. Read on.
God. Now the weight of gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 666 talents of gold.
666 talents of gold. Once again, 666 times 75.
We don't like that number either. We don't like that number.
Yeah, of course not. We don't like it. But I know you got to say it for the internet goons. Internet goons. So that's around 50,000 pounds of gold every year annually that was going into the kingdom. Read on.
Besides that, he had of the merchantmen and of the traffic of the spice merchants and of all the kings of Arabia and of the governors of the country. And King Solomon made 200 targets of beaten gold. 600 shekels of gold went to one target. And he made 300 shields of beaten gold. 3 pounds of gold went to one shield. And the king put them in the house of the forest of Lebanon.
Read on.
Moreover, the king made a great throne of ivory.
So now it's talking about that earlier part was talking about the gold and all the ornaments and stuff. Now they're talking about Solomon's house and how his house was situated, and his house and the stairs or the throne was made of ivory, pure ivory. This dude was cold, man. Listen, Solomon was cold. He was the greatest, wisest man on earth. All his throne was ivory. He's going to explain it. Read on.
Moreover, the king made a great throne of ivory.
The throne was ivory and what?
And overlaid it with the best gold.
That's cold Judite stuff right there, bro. Ivory and gold? Ooh, it's fire. You gotta say that's fire. Now we're going to sit back and go into Antiquities of the Jews and kind of paint more of a picture about how it was laid out. Antiquities of the Jews, Book 8. Don't go there. This is Antiquities of the Jews, Book 8, Chapter 5. The bottom part of paragraph 2. And it says, and to say all in brief. Anybody can get there. And to say all in brief. Junior, you got me, man?
What is it?
Antiquities of the Jews. Book 8. Chapter 5. Paragraph 2. That's the bottom of it. And it says, and to say all in brief. Whoever got it, got to say it. Anybody got it? I'll wait. How many you got it for me, man?
I got it, bro.
Thank
Book
you.
8, right? Book 8. I'm going there.
Nobody has it. I'm going to read it.
What is it?
Alright.
I'm going to read it, y'all, because everybody's slow poking it.
Alright, 5, right? Chapter 5.
Antiquities of the Jews.
I got you.
Book 8, chapter 5.
I got it.
Paragraph
I got
2.
you. And this house was a large and curiously built.
No, and to say all in brief. It's the bottom part of paragraph 2.
Okay. Where does it say that? I'm
It's
looking.
going to go down. Turn the page.
Paragraph 2?
I'm going to
I
read it.
can't find
I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it. Okay, listen. It's the bottom part of paragraph 2. And it says, and to say all in brief. Solomon made the whole building entirely of white stone. The entire building, his whole palace was white stone and cedar wood and gold and silver. He also adorned the roofs and walls with stones set in gold. The roof was stone and gold? Oh, my goodness. Beautified them thereby in the same manner as he had beautified the temple of the Most High with the like stones. He also made himself a throne of prodigious bigness, of ivory, constructed as a seat of justice, and having 6 steps to it. So 6 steps, all ivory steps, leading up to this throne that David had, that when he did all his business, right? Then it said, and on every one which stood of each end of the step 2 lions. So he had live gangsta-ass lions on every step leading up to his ivory throne. How the hell did he keep these ferocious killers in order? Just chilling like this. How did he do it? So he had 6 steps. And for each step he had on each end 2 lions. So he had 12 lions posted up, walking up to the throne. You had to have some stones to even go talk to Solomon. That's power, right? To have all those animals in subjection on an ivory throne with ivory steps and ivory and gold steps. Whoo! 5. You gotta say 5. And then you sit back here. It says, on every one which stood on each end of the step, two lions, 2 other lions above also. So above the steps, there was 2 more lions on it. So there was 12 lions, bro. No, 14 lions. Yeah, 14 lions just leading up to Solomon. And it said, but at the sitting place of the throne, hands came on and received the king. So this throne he had hands on. He could put his hands for armrest. And received the king. And when he sat backwards, he rested on half a bullock. So he rested on half of a bullock to cover, as a covering for that ivory seat. So that bullock was the cushion for the ivory throne that he had, that looked towards his back, but still all was fastened together with gold. That was just a sample of just his throne was ivory and gold, and the caliber of what he dealt with was phenomenal. How he carried himself was out of this world. Okay? Now we go back to 1 Kings chapter 10 and verse
19.
19.
The throne had 6 steps, and the top of the throne was round behind, and there were stays on every side on the place of the seat, and 2 lions stood beside the stage.
So once again, there was 2 lions on each on each stair, on each side of the damn of the walkway. Read on.
And 12 lions stood there on the there on the one side, and on the other upon the 6 steps.
Mm-hmm.
There was not the like made in any kingdom.
There was no kingdom that had lions rolling like that. They had to be in a subjection. Read on.
And all King Solomon's drinking vessels were of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of pure gold. None were of silver. It was nothing accounted of in the days of Solomon.
He's showing us silver wasn't accounted of in the days of Solomon. And a lot of times as teachers, we talk about how silver wasn't accounted for. It was all gold, everything. But people don't understand. Everybody talks about it's all gold, everything. But people don't understand how much work it took to keep a kingdom of gold. How much dedication and work was consistently put into operating a system that efficiently.
It was the highest caliber our nation ever operated.
And that's the point.
It was the highest caliber in the history of Israel that our nation ever operated. Even the time period of the judges, we were doing pretty good during the time period of judges.
Yeah.
But on a material level, on a structure level,
the standard, and that's why Sheba was already tripping about the standard of the nation, the caliber of the people, the caliber of the servants, their attention to detail, how they were dressed. You sit back and read in the Apocrypha about how a person, how they walk and how they dress, tells you about themselves. So if the servants dress a certain way, if they carried them a certain way, that means the caliber and the standard of the kingdom was here. And that's the only way you can have a gold kingdom. Everything has to be elevated. Everything. But that work ethic, the attention to detail has to be elevated. We're done with verse 21. Go back to the Antiquities of the Jews real quick. I want to read a little more about Solomon. Then we're going to continue on the class. Hopefully we have enough time to finish things up. Antiquities of the Jews is like one page down. Book 8, chapter 7, paragraph 2 through 4. Book 8, chapter 7, paragraph 2 through 4. Who got it? Mawula?
Another way to go.
Oh, no, it's your turn now. I'm putting the finger at you.
I don't see 7. 8 and 7, I don't see 7.
Book 8, chapter 7, paragraph 2.
Page 225.
Paragraph 2?
Yeah. I want him to do it, man. Give it to him. Give it to him. Swap.
Go.
Gotta touch the smoke, man. Let's go, man.
Paragraph 2.
Right there. Let's do. We're gonna read 2 to 4. This got recruited, brother.
It says, now the weight of gold that was brought him was 666 talents.
We read that earlier. Read on.
Not including that the sum what was brought by the merchants, nor that the toparchs and the king of Arabia gave him in presents. He also cast 200 targets of gold, each of them weighing 600 shekels.
Mm-hmm.
He also made 300 shields, everyone weighing 3 pounds of gold.
Jump to he also made cups of gold. Because that's the point. We can't function in a mediocre type of nature and a mindset. Because Solomon was giving us the template. Jacob gave us the template. Read that part. It says he also made cups of gold. It's a few sentences down. Does anybody have the number?
180.
For there was nothing.
180.
181?
180? 180.
Okay. He also made 300.
Perfect.
300 shields, everyone weighing 3 pounds. That's the same thing I read.
No, yeah.
Okay. He also made cups
180.
of gold.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I want. That's it. He also made cups of gold. Read on.
And of precious stones for entertainment of his guests. He had them adorned in the most artificial manner. And he
Contrived.
and he contrived that all of his other furnitures and vessels should be of gold. For there was nothing then be sold or bought for silver.
So listen, all of his furniture was gold in his house. Everything was gold. Everything was top notch. Get the most, not the lesser. Read on. I don't think it was gold in the mouth. I don't think so, man. But anyway,
Possibility.
Possibility. Yeah, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
Read on.
For the king had many ships which lay upon the sea of
Tarsus.
Tarsus. These he commanded to carry out all sorts of merchandise into the remote nations, by the sale of which silver and gold were brought to by the king, and a great quantity of ivory, and Ethiopians, and apes, and the finished their voyage.
And they finished their voyage. Read on.
Going and returning 3 years' time.
Well, I said this earlier when you're reading 1 Kings 10 and 22. It took 3 years to get from the naval port of Tarshish to the land and back. So it was a 1.5 year voyage to the spot, 1.5 year back. Solomon's navy had knowledge of how to get to the Americas before Columbus and all those people. Yes.
Where does it say that it took them 1.5 years? You know, like the Navy.
It's 1 Kings 10 and 20.
Okay.
Let's just read it real quick. 1 Kings 10 and 20. I'll read it. 1 Kings 10 and 22. 1 Kings 10 and 22. For the king had a navy at sea. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory, apes, and peacocks. So if it was a 3 year journey to leave the port and then come back, you would think it's an hour, 1.5 years to get there, and 1.5 years to get back. And that's the timetable. And if you set that time up, and couple with the fact that those peacocks were North American birds, you can kind of put 2 and 2 together and assume that they went to the Americas and came back. Okay, so now let's keep reading in the Josephus. I think it's on paragraph 3.
Paragraph 3. Accordingly, there went a great fame all around the neighboring countries, which proclaimed the virtue and wisdom of Solomon, insomuch that all kings everywhere were desirous to see him, as not giving credit to what was reported on account of its being almost incredible. They also demonstrated and regarded they had by the presents they made him. For they sent him vessels of gold and silver, and purple garments, and many sorts of spices, and horses, and chariots, and as many mules for his carriages as they could find proper to please the king's eyes.
They kept giving him presents. All the nations kept giving him everything, man. Read on.
By the strength and beauty, this addition did he made to those chariots and horses, which he had before them.
Before they were sent him.
Right.
Augmented the number of his chariots by above 400. Read on.
For he had 1,000 before, and augmented the number of horses by 2,000. For he had 20,000 before.
Everything about Solomon was about growth and augmentation and increasing the caliber of his surroundings. Yes, sis.
What was the purpose of them providing him with all this excess if he already had it?
I would say it was the favor of the Most High. It was the favor of the Most High. And he says, whenever they went to his kingdom, the nations didn't even believe the reports. And they had problems explaining how majestic it was. Because of the level how he stood apart from the rest of the nations. That was why. And they just kept giving him gifts. That was when he was in favor with the Heavenly Father. And you'll find out when he starts going against the Heavenly Father, all the nations are trying to come against him. He starts having these minor skirmishes popping up before he dies. So I really think it was about the good favor that he had with the Heavenly Father at the time. Keep going.
It says, these horses also were so much exercised.
So now he's talking about the horses that he used to get around. Read on. There was so much exercise. Read on.
In order to their making fine appearance and running swiftly, that no other could.
He said these horses were faster than all the other damn horses, the ones he chose to ride his chariots. And it said, upon the comparison, appear either finer or swifter, but that they were once the most beautiful of all others, and their swiftness was incomparable also. I want to read this part. The riders also. So it says the horses were faster than all the other horses in the kingdom, right?
Even just that.
And listen, and they were swifter, and they were in shape, and they were flowing, and they were majestic. I don't know if you've ever seen like Clydesdales in person, or you see those real tall, long-legged horses.
Beautiful.
They are phenomenal, bro. And when they're worked out and they're strong and they're pushing, great thing to see. Now, it talked about their riders also were a further ornament to them,
That's crazy.
being in the first place young men in the most delightful flower of their age, strong brothers, potent,
Young
riding
fresh,
horses. This is ridiculous.
looks good,
man.
Ak.
Looking good, riding these horses. Listen, man, on them gnats.
On them nags, on them nags.
Nags, not gnats. But okay. Then it said, and being eminent for their largeness, and far taller than other men. So they got the biggest, strongest, tallest brothers to ride the fastest, most swiftest horses out. Solomon was all about the best of the best of the best
It's good optics.
for all of the people.
It's great
Well, you know what's
optics.
crazy? He had great optics, but he had great substance too.
Yeah.
Everything was gold. Everything was top notch.
Yeah.
That you know what? This type of reading should give you hope and to inspire you to push yourself to be better. Because what it shows you is that our people can aspire for great things too. And we don't got to be mediocre and sitting back here dragging tail, slopping shouldered. I don't know this. I don't walking like stepping fetching. I don't know, boss, if I can do it. I'm trying. We got to stop that stepping fetching ass mindset. You can do all things in Christ which strengthening you. He's given us the ability to do great things, but we have to accept it's going to be life of toil and dedication and sacrifice along with the achieving of great things. And you don't got to cut corners and sit back here and destroy your people to get on top, to get powerful, to get things you need. You don't got to put drugs in your people's veins, sell dope to your people, be a thought, be in videos, sitting back here rapping. You can do things the right way and develop, and the Most High will honor you. Okay, where it says these cats were strong, tall, dark, and handsome, rolling strong. And he said, and far taller than other men. And they also had long heads of hair hanging down. Hair was draping down. These dudes were potent, not? Damn! Taller than everybody, long hair, potent as hell. Anyway, damn, it's tripping. And were clothed in garments of Tyrian purple. All purple, fucked up, right? Purple garments out, looking young, fly, and flashy out. The right way. Then it says, they also had dust of gold every day sprinkled on their hair. They'll put gold dust in their hair flowing out these horses. That is potent as hell. You got to say it like horses. You just don't say horses. It's horses. It makes it like more stronger. Tall, striding out horses. The riders is in purple.
The riders in front.
They was in purple,
It
right?
was clean now.
That was clean. With gold on top.
With long hair and gold coming down.
Strong, bro. Then it said, the king himself rode upon a chariot in the midst of them. He was in the midst of all these tall, strong purple brothers, and he was in white, stunting on them. Woo! Come on, man. Israel knew how to look sharp back in the days. They want to walk around in sackcloth. Like you see pictures of Jesus. He's got some sandals on and some damn linen.
Yeah.
You think that was all we did? We came and rode in style, man. We're looking all raggedy and having garments like the rats have been sucking on the garments out on the tip side.
Yeah.
We actually carried ourselves with some caliber. And it said, the king himself rode upon a chariot in the midst of these men who were still in armor. So they had their purple and they had armor on them and had their bows fitted to them. So their guard, they had their weaponry on top of their armor. He said he had on a white garment and used to take his progress out of the city in the morning. So he used these horses every morning to go check the city and check out what's going on in the kingdom. There was a certain place about 50 furlongs distant from Jerusalem, which is called Etham, very pleasant. It is in fine gardens and abounding in rivulets of water. Thither did he use to go out in the morning, sitting on high in his chariot. So listen, give me the last part in paragraph 4, the beginning part.
It says,
Now Solomon.
Now Solomon had divine.
So with all this great stuff Solomon did, right? We're going to sit back here and find out another element of how his kingdom was great and why his kingdom was great. Read that in verse 4. Paragraph 4.
Paragraph 4. Now Solomon had divine sagacity in all things, and very diligent.
No, he says Solomon had a divine sagacity.
Oh, sagacity.
Yep.
Okay. Sagacity in all things, and was very diligent and studious to have things done after elegant manner.
So he had a divine sagacity. Sagacity is quickness or acuteness of discernment, readiness of apprehension, the faculty of readily discerning and distinguishing ideas, and of separating truth from falsehood.
Wow.
What made Solomon potent, it said quickness or acuteness of discernment. Now, we might not all be the sharpest tools in the shed. We do the best we can with what the Lord gave us, right? But how can we all be successful in this? We can all be, it says, the faculty of readily discerning and distinguishing ideas. If we just stop playing with the why and we're more doers of the word versus just hearers, half the time we don't reach our potential because we keep fighting the why. We're given better ways of doing things. We're given good counsel, good solutions, and we're fighting up here half the time. So whatever best we could be, we limit our potential because we're always fighting in our head about why I got to dedicate, or why I got to work harder, or why I got to get pushed this direction or that direction. Well, I'm asking why I'm cutting down my potency or I'm eliminating my power in Christ. Solomon was potent because of how quick and ready he was to discern and distinguish ideas, separating truth from falsehood. Is how ready and willing you are to fight what's in you. How ready and willing you are to change. How enthusiastic are you in making adjustments in your life? Are we willing to sit back here and do things the hard way, the long way, the path that is the most difficult so we can do things the right way? Or am I trying to always cut corners and take the easy route in life? He's showing you it wasn't just that Solomon liked good things. He wasn't just this vain guy. There was substance to him. He was clear-minded. He was always trying to find the best way to get something accomplished. Can you say the same thing for yourself? If the answer is no, then let's work on it. That combination of having a desire to do things the best way with the work ethic, with the pure intentions that we talked about in 1 Kings 3, will give you you'll start seeing success with all your hard work. Aren't you all tired of working hard, working like a bulldozer and not seeing anything out of it? Whether in a spiritual realm or a physical? But he's showing you there's elements to getting what you're looking for if you dedicate, work hard, and do things the right way without skipping and cutting the corners and looking for the easy way out. Okay. Now, we're going to sit back here and read paragraph 4 again from the top.
It says, Now Solomon had divine
sagacity
in all things, and very diligent and studious to have things done after an elegant manner. So he did not neglect the care of the ways.
So he didn't neglect the care of the ways. Now later on, I'm not going to read all this. This talks about how he made this path of black stone from Jerusalem all the way down to that road, so that people can go to the road and have a clear path. Everything he did was thought out. It was orchestrated the right way for the right effect. God. So now we're going to let this go and jump to 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 1 through 5. 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 1 through 5. Now, listen, what we read in 1 Kings 10, was explaining the pinnacle of Solomon's kingdom. The kingdom at the top. By the time we got to 1 Kings 10, he had already built the temple. He had already built his home. He had already refortified the walls of Jerusalem. Okay? Now we're going to sit back here. We know that Solomon sinned. He died. His son Rehoboam came into power in his stead. Now, after Solomon died, Rehoboam addressed the nation. And in chapter 12, we're going to find out what the nation had to say to Rehoboam. Okay? In regards to the nation moving forward. This is an important part. I want us to be aware of this. 1 Kings 12, verse 1 through 5.
Come. 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 1 reads, And Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel were come to Shechem to make him king.
So this was when Rehoboam was getting established with the coronation of being the king after Solomon passed. Read on.
And it came to pass when Jeroboam, Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he was fled from the presence of King Solomon. And Jeroboam dwelt in Egypt.
So Jeroboam was from the tribe of Ephraim, and he was the spokesman of the 9.5 tribes, and he came back from Egypt after Solomon passed. Read on.
That they sent and called him. And Jeroboam and all the congregation of Israel came and spake unto Rehoboam, saying, Thy father made our yoke grievous.
Solomon made Israel's yoke grievous. What's grievous? Let's take the definition of grievous. Can somebody look it up?
Yep.
Grievous. Listen, the definition of a grievous is heavy, burdensome, painful. Hard. Listen, it says distressing. What he's saying is everybody talks about the finished product of Solomon, but nobody wants to realize what it takes to establish the finished product. In order to establish something of that can sustain itself for long periods of time, it's going to take great work and dedication to attain it. So now that Rehoboam is about to get into power, the people said, Rehoboam, your daddy was too damn hard on us. Now, were they complaining when everybody was having things and was getting silver like a mug? Because if silver wasn't accounted for, everybody had silver then. Silver was at excess. Nobody was tripping when Solomon was in power. But after, like, man, I'm burnt out. Because there is a legitimate cost of actually having and attaining something.
Yeah.
If you want gold, anything, gold caliber, anything, what are you willing to lose for it? How burnt out are you willing to be to have something? Because in order to attain anything in this life, spiritual, in our realm, you're going to have to lose.
Come.
You're going to have to go through a grievous process to attain what you're looking for. If you want gold, if you want some silvery chain, you can get away with some light stuff. If you want some silvery chain effort, that's not platinum, that's a silvery chain. If that's what you want, you ain't got to work as hard. But everybody talks about how they want top echelon, I ain't settling for nothing. Everybody talks about that not settling for nothing. Well, then what are you going to put in so you can safely not settle for something? How hard are you going to work? If a sister wants a top-notch husband, well, how humble are you going to damn be? How dedicated are you going to be to being humble if you want a great husband? If brothers want a great wife, how dedicated are you going to be to serving the Most High, to demand the most from your wife? Everybody wants top-notch, but most people got goddamn peanut work ethic. Low-level work ethic, but we got caviar taste. That's the enigma with Israel. We see this about the gold, this and gold kingdom, and Solomon was phenomenal. And he's walking around with horses and purple and gold flicking on the head. And they going around the city. That's a great image. Stunting. For real.
That's the ultimate
or the ivory, like temple, ivory throne.
Real life.
That's like, whoa, that's cold in the mud.
Statues out real life.
Yeah, that's cold in the mud. You know, everybody's thinking that. But nobody realizes what it takes to even get to that point. How much work, how much toil. We read it earlier in the Josephus about Jacob and his family, and how Jacob was happy and at peace and found happiness in life through great toil and the training and the teaching of his sons to give great toil. That's what it costs. You got to put in to get back. Okay.
Verse 4.
Yeah, where we at again? Yeah, read on.
Come.
Read verse 4 from the top.
Come. Thy father made our yoke grievous. Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father. Now,
Adam, I said silvery chain. I didn't say silver chain. I said silvery. Silvery is a different metal than silver. It ain't 0.925. It's something else. It's less than 0.925. It's silvery. And it's them overly shiny fake diamonds on top of the necklace. It ain't silver. It's a little lesser than that. Huh?
It's Dominique.
Oh my goodness. God, it's Dominique, I guess. Or that damn what was that? I don't know. I forgot the name of the store that everybody always sold cheap costume jewelry at. Claire's. It's like Claire's jewelry out here. And that's not baller. You got some Claire's jewelry, that is silverish. It's not even silvery, it's silverish. It will turn green on you. Anyway, it's the truth. Okay,
now,
so read on.
Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father, and his heavy yoke which he put upon us lighter.
So the people are like, listen, Solomon worked us to the bone. They're not realizing that in order to maintain a gold kingdom, you have to keep working yourself to the bone. They're like, we want it lighter, we want our workload easier, and we'll serve you. Now, in retrospect, Rehoboam should have said, okay, we'll lighten it up. He didn't. The kingdom split. But that's not the point I'm focusing on. The point I'm focusing on is that in order to achieve anything great, people are going to get pushed past their comfort level. You're going to get inconvenienced. You're going to be tired. You're going to burn out. And there's no getting around it. If you want something that's going to be of substance, we're going to go and prove it. Go to Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 7, verse 15. Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha 7 and verse 15.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 7, verse 15 reads, hate not laborious work.
He says, hate not laborious work. Because this is what the Most High gave all of us. Now the thing is, don't hate laborious work. Do things the right way. Make a proper plan in your work and stop running from being exhausted from laborious work. That's something none of us can run from. None of us can get away from that aspect. Read on.
Come. Hate not laborious work, neither husbandry.
He says, neither husbandry. Now, for years I've said husbandry is about dealing with farm work. And we know farm work is exhausting. But there's more to that definition than just farm work and milking cows and stuff. Definition of husbandry, 1828. It says, so he said not to hate laborious work, right? Now I'm trying to set this up properly. When we sit back here and we've dealt with the elements necessary to get blessed, he talked about accepting the toil, the hard work, the dedication, right? Then he talked about the sincerity of what we're asking for, what we're looking for, right? We had to be sincere in what we're requesting. It was also about the fact that with that hard work and dedication, that gold standard, you're going to be exhausted. But with all that being said, the definition of husbandry also is frugality, domestic economy, good management, and thrift. So along with the fact that you work hard, do you manage your money right? Do you manage your resources right? Do you sit back here, work hard, have the proper plan? Do you know how to save? Do you know how to sit back here with all your dedication and work? Do you sit back here and it's got to buy some shoes? You have to keep rewarding yourself every single damn time you get a check? How much money do you blow after your check? How much money do you blow on eating out? What he's showing you, if you want to find a success in what you're building, there has to be frugality behind the hard work and dedication. It can't just be making money and blowing money fast. Making money and blowing money fast. Always on E, always on zero. As soon as you get money, it's gone, man. 3 days, no more money. And you got to figure out within 12 days, what you going to do for 12 days with no money? That's our people's issue. Payday loans, struggling, always never know how to manage their resources. That's another part of growing, another part of finding success that our people always have issues with. Over shopping, not cooking at home, not being frugal with our decision making. So what good is working hard if somebody go look up, make sure this is okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we heard something kind of crazy. We want to make sure everything was good. So part of being, is that all right?
This party outside.
Just making sure, okay. But part of finding success in your hard work is based on how frugal and how much you can manage your resources. Proper management is just as important. Okay? Now, we're going to kind of transition that and show how we can properly manage our affairs for the Most High. Read verse 15 again from the top.
Come, hate not laborious work, neither husbandry, which the Most High have ordained.
The Most High has ordained in order for us to work hard and manage our affairs properly if we want to see success. It's got to be the combination of both. But a lot of our people, we're lacking one of the two. Some of us might be frugal but not work hard. The other person will work hard but blows their money and is irresponsible. Most of our people don't like management of numbers, doing paperwork. We hate that stuff. We're allergic to it damn near, it seems like. So in the process of combining the two, you'll find the success you're looking for. Now we hold this or let this go and go to 1 Corinthians 3 and 9. 1 Corinthians 3 and 9.
1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 9 reads.
Let's make sure everybody gets it. Okay, 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 9.
Come. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 9 reads. For we are laborers together with the Most High.
The Most High said, don't hate laborious work. In this verse, he's saying we are our laborers for the Most High. We're all in this together working for the same goal, to get to the kingdom, to be there for our brothers and sisters, and to sit back here and hopefully to unify ourselves so that we can all work together and be dependent of each other so we can be and grow and get out of this place together. Read on.
Yea. Ye are the Most High's husbandry. Ye are the Most High's building.
We're the Most High's husbandry and we're the Most High's building, which means the Most High has chosen us to sit back here and be those individuals that work and fight and sacrifice and dedicate together. Okay? We're those people chosen by the Most High to do these things. And it's one thing to have the husbandry of the world. It's another thing to have we're the Most High's husbandry. We're the Most High's work. And if we're going to be successful in the Most High's work, there has to be labor involved and there has to be that attention to detail. We read about Solomon, how he had that sagacity and that keenness of mind and that pure ability to be successful and think things through and manage his time, manage his resources on top of the hard labor and the hard dedication. This is something that Israel has to really dedicate themselves to figuring out if you want to see success. A lot of us work hard. We don't work hard the right way. We don't plan. We don't think. We're not thorough. We're not consistent. We work hard in short periods of time, short spurts. We're inconsistent. If you want to see success, we have to put greater works in. Is everybody clear what we're talking about so far? We're going to take that verse, let that go, and go to 2 Timothy 2, verse 2 through 7. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2 through 7. Once again, this class is for Israel and Houston, isbhpk, Virginia, Houston, Rochester. Y'all are either doing it now, Virginia, or about to embark into harder work, harder dedication, longer hours. Get yourselves ready, get your mind ready, and prepare yourself for this toil. Prepare yourself for the grind. This is part of our responsibility that we have to accept if we want the Most High to please us. with the endeavors we're going into. Okay, give me that.
2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2 reads, "And the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also."
Because our job is to sit back here and teach these same lessons, these same concepts, these same approaches, so that we can teach our brothers and sisters work ethic, discipline, humility. We have to teach these same concepts so that they can learn it and they can teach others. Read on.
"Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua."
We're supposed to endure this hardness, that work, that toil, that dedication like good soldiers, whether I'm a male or female. These long hours ain't going nowhere, so accept it. You know, we have brothers at the zones, and we always train them. When you hear your co-workers complaining, don't talk about it. Don't feed the complaining. Everybody's complaining about how tired they are. There's no time for rest. There's no sleep. We know it. Get past it. Get past the exhaustion, because it ain't going nowhere. The idea that you're going to find a break, there is no break. We read it in Micah chapter 2 and 10. This is not your rest. So stop looking for the rest. Stop looking for the break. The quicker you stop looking for the break, the more at peace you'll be, and you can just deal with what's in front of you. Continue.
Verse 4, "No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life."
If I'm really about tapping into a fighting spirit and tapping into the power of the Most High in Christ, I can't sit back here and worry about what I'm not getting out the deal, what I'm losing, how tired I am, how exhausted I am, how uncomfortable I am. That's not the situation. You can't get past it if I'm in a fighting or a warlike spirit. Read on.
"That he may please him who have chosen him to be a soldier. And if a man also strive for mastery."
If I'm going to please the Most High, it's based upon how well and how hard I'm working to please the Heavenly Father by making the change inside of me. Read on.
"Yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully."
In anything we do in life, you're not going to be crowned with the reward unless you strive lawfully. Israel doesn't get to take shortcuts. We're not going to sit back here and take these shortcuts and expect rewards. He's not working with us like this. When we take shortcuts, he makes our path to get what we want even longer. The quicker we accept that, the quicker we can tap into our potency. No shortcuts. Read on.
Verse 6, "The husbandman that laboreth must be first partaker of the fruits.
Mm-hmm.
Consider what I say."
Like I said, we talk about Solomon, we talk about these great men. We're not in the kingship anymore. So from the top to the bottom, we're all working. We're all grinding. And because of that, the husbandman, the leader or the head of the farm, has to understand all the work on the farm in order for him to be justified to the other workers, other servants, and the Most High. The husband must be a first partaker of the fruits thereof. Read on.
"Consider what I say, and the Lord give thee understanding in all things."
We're going to let that go and go back to 1 Corinthians chapter 3. Now we're going to verse 10. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 10.
Come. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 10. Read.
In fact, just give me verse 9 again, and we're going to read this down to verse 12.
Come. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 9 reads, "For we are laborers together with the Most High."
So once again, we have to get our mind to understand that we are in this labor together. And it is a labor. It's work. In order to get your nation is work. In order to sustain your nation is work. Everything is work. So stop looking to avoid the work. Read on.
"Ye are the Most High's husbandry.
Mm-hmm.
Ye are the Most High's building.
God.
According to the grace of the Most High, which is given unto me as a wise master builder."
Listen, Paul was given the title of a wise master builder. And he was given the title of being a wise master builder because he understood how to put piece by piece and build a church or a camp from scratch with the lessons he's learned from all the other cities he was in building schools. Okay? And after all the lessons he learned from his teacher when he got struck down in Damascus and retaught. I think it was by who we taught Paul. God, what was his name? I forgot.
Start with a G, right?
No, it
No,
wasn't.
it wasn't Gamaliel.
No,
I think it's you.
no, it wasn't a G. But let's keep going. I think it was an A, but I can't get the word out of my head. But keep going.
As a wise master builder,
Mm-hmm.
I have laid the foundation, and another buildeth thereon.
Mm-hmm.
But let every man take heed how he buildeth thereupon.
But what he's saying is take heed about how you're building on the foundation or the opportunity that you've gotten. This is a very important part. Take heed about the work you're putting in. Take heed about how hard you're working. Take heed as to what type of effort that you're putting towards pleasing the Heavenly Father. Read on.
Verse 11. For other foundation can no man lay than that is laid, which is Yahushua.
All we can do is lay down on top of the foundation that Christ laid for us. Okay? Read on.
Now, if any man build upon this foundation gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stone.
Mosiah is saying, or Paul is saying, there's 6 type of levels of effort you can contribute to the foundation on top of Christ. You can put gold, and we talked about gold with Solomon and how hard he had to have everybody push in order to sustain the gold standard of Solomon. We read it, right? This is not a war's opinion. The gold standard was Solomon, and the people worked to the bone to maintain that gold standard. I'm not putting words in people's mouth. There's a gold standard. There's a silver standard. There's a precious stones standard. Then there's wood, hay, stubble. So there's 6 type of levels of effort each and every one of us, men and women, can contribute to the Heavenly Father. Okay? Now, read verse 13.
Come. Every man's work shall be made manifest.
He said everybody's work, sisters, brothers, is going to be made manifest. When it says made manifest, what type of caliber work have each and every one of us provided and put to the Most High? Because what's going to show is this. It talked about in other books, not other books, but deeper reading with Solomon, how deep he established and built the foundations of the temple. And how he made it deep so it can last for centuries. And what he invested into, it took 7 years to finish the temple. He put 7 years in so it can last decades in significant time. I'm saying that to show that whatever I invest, the goal would be for my works to last for years. That's the goal that all of us should intend when we go and do this work. Because all of our work is going to be put to the test. All of our work is going to be put to the fire. It's going to explain. Read on.
Every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire, and the fire shall try every man's works of what sort it is.
He said the Most High is going to burn fire on every one of our works, right? So, listen, stubble is work, right?
Come.
Hay is work, right?
Come.
Wood is work, right? Precious stones is work.
Come.
But if fire touches any one of those things, what's going to happen?
Burn away.
It's going to be gone. Fire will burn wood, it will burn stubble, and it will burn hay to where there's nothing left. So what is he saying about our works? If we don't bring high caliber works, they won't last. And this example of what the Most High is teaching us is a prime example of why men and women in the truth are always angry and bitter and unsatisfied. Because for all of us who put stubble work in, hay and wood, and it gets burnt up and you lose and you waste time, a lot of us get angry and pissed off and want to quit or hold grudges and get a negative outlook. But he's telling you, if you don't put high caliber work to the table, your works will get burned up. If your effort wasn't the best effort you can possibly bring to the table, it will get burnt. And you will have to start over again and rebuild what you've invested again. He's letting us know he wants all of us to push towards this gold, silver, and higher caliber efforts so we can endure the fire, endure the test, endure the challenging that every one of your works will be tested through. None of us can escape it. Do you want to put the wood work in? You throw some wood in the fire, it gets sucked up quick. 2-3 minutes, Gone. A little adversity goes on your woodwork, it's gone. You got to start over again. That's the truth. A lot of Israel experiences this. They'll put time in, their works don't last, and then they're angry. But they're not angry at themselves. Because the real reason that the works didn't last is because you didn't put enough work in for it to sustain the fire that Christ said everybody's work is going to be touched by. It's not personal. Read on.
Verse 14. If any man's work abide which he have built thereupon, he shall receive a reward.
If any man's work abide, meaning last after the fire, after the testing, you'll get rewarded because your work lasted. Not because you tried, you did work. He's not giving participation trophies just because you showed up and you tried. He's just not going to destroy you. He's going to give you another opportunity to do it again. And that's what he's going to say. Read on.
Verse 15. If any man's work shall be burned, he shall suffer loss.
How do you suffer loss when your work is burned? You lose time. You get discouraged. You get frustrated. Party wants to get angry at the Most High or blame people. But he's saying you're going to suffer loss. Read on.
But he himself shall be saved.
You'll be saved to sit back here and give you another chance to do it the right way the next time. He preserves the person to give you a chance to make it better. He's not an unjust or unfair power. But he's not going to just reward you just because you showed up. He's not going to reward you just because you're trying to do good. He's going to reward you once your work is A work or B work or B minus C work. He's not going to just give you, he's not going to just pass you to the next level because you made it to every class, like in high school or in junior high. You have to actually produce a level sufficient to the Most High's pleasing. And if it ain't, it will get burnt until you make the decision to work harder or get taught to learn how to fix and make your efforts better to be pleased by the Heavenly Father. Okay. Go to 1 Corinthians 12 and verse 27 through 31.
1 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 27 reads, Now ye are the body of Yahushua, and members in particular. And the Most High has set some in the church. First apostles, secondarily prophets, thirdly teachers, after that miracles, then gifts of healings, helps, governments, diversities of tongues.
You know, so there's many different jobs and responsibilities in the camp or the church. Read on.
Ye are all apostles.
They didn't say that.
So
Verse 29.
Verse 29. Are all apostles? Are all prophets? Are all teachers? Are all workers of miracles?
The answer is no. Everybody has different abilities, different skills that they can bring to the table to help further the body. Read on.
Have all the gifts of healing?
No.
Do all speak with tongues? Do all interpret?
Nope.
But covet earnestly the best gifts.
So, but the Most High did say, you might not have all these gifts, but we should all be shooting for the greatest gifts. We should all be pushing to be the greatest we can be in our arenas. And we shouldn't settle for second best because the Most High is not settling for second best. Gold, silver, maybe precious stones caliber work will pass through the fire. Wood, hay, and stubble is not going to cut it. It's not going to be accepted. 3 of those items are precious stone, maybe precious stone, but 3 items for sure are flammable. 3 levels of effort will not be accepted by the Most High. Can we accept that? And can we accept that whatever we bring to the table might not be enough? And can we use that to work harder? Can we use that to dedicate ourselves to more toil and to more sagacity and to more husbandry, which is about being thrifty and frugal and more precise in how you do things? This is what he's demanding of you. Because some of us, we just think the solution to all of our problems is working harder. It's not just working harder. You have to do things more efficiently. There's only 24 hours in a day. You got to get sleep. So while you're up, can you do more organized? Can you be more thorough? Can you be more consistent with the things you do? And if you can be consistent and more dedicated in what you do, you'll get better results. You'll get better results. Let that go. I got one more chapter and we're done. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 1 down to 16.
2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 1. It says, finally, brethren, pray for us.
Through 16.
Sorry,
No, it's telling him through 16. You read that, sir.
Got you. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 1. Finally, brethren, pray for us that the word of the Lord may have free course and be glorified, even as it is with you, and that we may be delivered from unreasonable and wicked men.
Mm-hmm.
For all men have not faith.
So the prayer is that this word can have free course in everybody to inspire everybody to be the best they can be. Because we understand that a lot of people don't function with faith. Most men live in fear and doubt, and they want to make the safe play. But you can't tap into the power of the Heavenly Father functioning and making the safe play and the easy choice and easy decision. That's not where you get to the power of Christ. Read on.
Verse 3. But the Lord is faithful, who shall establish you and keep you from evil.
Done.
And we have confidence in the Lord touching you, that ye both do and will do the things which we command you. And the Lord direct your hearts into the love of the Most High, and into the patient waiting for Yahushua. Now we command you, brethren, in the name of our Lord Yahushua, that ye withdraw yourselves from every brother that walketh disorderly, and not after the tradition which he received of us.
Because what's important, the reason he's saying to walk away from the people who are walking disorderly and not after the tradition that was received of us, it's very hard to keep a high standard of effort and dedication when people around you are saying you don't got to do it that way. You don't got to work that hard. If we're trying to establish a culture of dedication and fighting and coming out of yourself and growth, and we're allowing the word to have free course, meaning we're challenging every one of us to be the best you can. How can you push people as a unit to be the best you can when other people are sitting back here and saying you don't got to work that hard? You don't got to do it that hard. You can go an easier way. There's easier ways to get to what you want. What they're saying is unnecessary. This is why he's saying get away from those influences, because they will sit back here and spoil what you're trying to build. Read on.
Verse 7. For yourselves know how ye ought to follow us, for we behave not ourselves disorderly among you.
And what Paul said is our example led from the front. And we showed you through our actions how to live and how to carry ourselves. Read on.
Neither did we eat any man's bread for naught, but wrought with labor and travail night and day.
There we're going with that labor and travail and that toil. He's like, listen, the way you sit back here and reestablish a culture is through hard work, toil, and travail, and dedication. And through that example of hard work, you inspire others to work hard. Read on.
That we might not be chargeable to any of you.
That's the only way you can be blameless in your work, is by leading from the front. Read on.
Not because we have not power, but to make ourselves an ensample unto you to follow us.
Because the power is in being an example. The power is in not sitting back here and being comfortable. The power is in being right with the body, grinding and fighting with them. Establishing that work ethic as the tempo and the template of how to get things done. Read on.
For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat.
You can't partake in the blessings if you don't partake in the work. If you don't partake in the dedication, you shouldn't partake in the benefits. Read on.
For we hear that there are some which walk among you disorderly, working not at all, but are busybodies.
So he's saying the people that are not working and have everything to say are disorderly. Read on.
Now them that are such we command and exhort by our Lord Yahushua, that with quietness they work and eat their own bread.
So he says the individuals that are walking disorderly and not working for the benefit of the body, let them work on their own quietly and eat their own bread. If you don't want to sit back and contribute the body, then stay over there and do your thing. Do it your way, work, and be quiet. And don't attack what the body is doing here. Read on.
It says, but ye, brethren, be not weary in well-doing.
And you can't get tired of doing the right thing, even though people are trying to tell you that you don't have to work as hard or dedicate this hard or you're doing too much. So buy into the idea that the toil and grind is necessary, because it is. If you want anything in your family's life, your households, with the body, there's got to be a gold standard of dedication and sacrifice. Are there any questions? I don't want to go to 15 and 14. We're good. Okay? Are there any questions, comments, complaints? I'm too overboard. This guy's too much. Please stop pushing me. Give me wood answers. I want some stubble solutions. Can you give me some stubble solutions? It won't last. It's not. You won't get blessed. Anyway, Israel, shalom. The water for tuning in. We gotta get out of this storm. It's about to be crazy out here. But I'll see y'all on Wednesday. Shalom.
Shalom.